and Chewy are formed up. First, do you copy? We're coming in hot.
Hello, hello. Hopefully everybody can hear me. We're gonna give this whole live stream thing a shot. The inaugural live stream of the Hangar Bay podcast. I couldn't think of a more fitting time than to cover the opening ceremony of this year's FlightSimExpo. So hopefully everyone's having a wonderful Friday. If you hear my cat screaming in the background, it's because he's having a good Friday too, and he's happy I'm home early to talk about the show. So I don't really know what we'll have in store today on the combat flight sim side. We're just watching the intro opening video right now. So I'm hoping there'll be a good deal of hardware stuff to talk about. We've already got some confirmed exciting news from the force feedback side of the house. So I won't spoil that announcement. Hopefully we'll see that in the opening ceremony today. It does sound like WinWing's going to make a presentation along with MicroProse, Slytherin, and Combat Pilot. So we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled and see what awaits us here. So if you're going to join us, welcome. I apologize. This is my first ever live stream, so I have no idea what to expect from this. So buckle up and let's see, enjoy the ride as we get things started here. So.
Welcome everyone to FlightSimExpo 2024 and FS Expo Friday. I am so excited to be up here back on the stage at what is going to be yet again the biggest FlightSimExpo we have ever had. Woo! A big thank you to the Flight Simulator Thunderbirds for that awesome welcome video to get us all hyped up and ready for what's going to be a super exciting day. More than 15 different developers taking the stage to do 10 and 15, 20-minute presentations, some videos, and of course, some surprises along the way. But before we get into all that...
So Evan here, the team of Flight Sim Association, the work they do setting this thing up is just incredible. So kudos to them. I don't think they get enough praise for all the work they do, and hope long may continue. So I think this year's event looks like it's going to be really solid. So.
You might remember January 29th. I certainly do. It was in Philly. I was on a work trip. I had just sat down to lunch, and I see this message from Eric come across the screen. And it says, do we know if there's going to be a change in venue? Because there's this memo from the Tropicana saying that they might be closing on April 1st. So first things first, I finished my sandwich. And then I said, okay, let's start looking at what we can find. And I'm Googling, and nothing's really popping up. But as the day
I covered this on the show. What this team had to do to flex from the initial venue choice of Tropicana in Vegas to Rio because of the selling of the location for the baseball team coming their way was just brutal. I can't imagine just picking up a whole convention and moving it along the way. That'd just be absolutely miserable. So props to them for making that happen.
People are going to be canceling. They're going to be panicking. What's going to happen? And I turn on Discord, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. Guess we'll have to find a new venue. Nobody's panicking. Nobody's shocked. It was just like the calmest reaction ever. And that was such a cool thing for me and Phil to see. Like, here we are without any ability.
They channeled their inner pilot and just started executing their emergency procedures, right? Just aviate, navigate, communicate. We'll get the show calmed down and underway. But no, seriously, it was really awesome to see the flex they did. So
the reaction from you guys was like so supportive.
Yeah,
so phenomenal.
my cat is still really pissed that I'm home early.
The next several days,
Yeah.
What was going to be just a rapid fire series of things. We started getting all these messages, people saying, hey, you could look at this venue, you could look at that venue. And this is going to be tough because I can't really see. But is there a David Ballard out there somewhere? You're going to have to really wave. Right there. So David, he posts this thing that he sees on a freaking Las Vegas bulletin board going, hey, the Rio's looking for guests if you guys want to reach out to them. And he sends me an email. So I emailed him. And like 24 hours later, we have the draft of the contract that I signed to get us here. I mean, how cool is that?
I don't think anyone's listening right now, so I apologize if you can't hear the audio very nicely. I'm working on that. So if anyone does drop in, let me know as things go along, and we'll see how it all plays out. But like I said, this is a learning experience for me, and I thought what better way to do an initial live stream than by doing it with the first day of the FlightSimExpo. But my goal is for you to also be able to hear what we're talking about. or hear
You
what
guys
the
gave us
presenters
a
are saying, I
very,
should say.
very clear mandate. You said,
I don't think
yes, this is
anyone's
the place
listening
we
right now,
wanna go.
so
Let's
I
not wait, right? So
apologize
this
if you
just
can't hear the
shows
audio very
you
nicely. I'm
exactly
working
how
on that,
things
so
work in this
if
show.
anyone
And
does
that's what
drop
we
in,
just
let
wanted
me
to
know
make.
as
And
things
then
go along,
25
and we'll
days
see
later,
how
after
how
that
it all
very
plays
first
out. But
announcement,
like I said, this is a learning experience for me, and I thought what better way to do an initial live stream than by doing it with the first day of the Flight Sim Expo. But my goal was for you to also be able to hear what we're talking about,
so let's give
or
ourselves a
hear
big
what the
round of applause.
presenters are saying, I should say. I don't think anyone's listening right now, so I apologize if you can't hear the audio
And
very
that brings
nicely.
us
I'm
to where
working
we
on
are
that,
today.
so
This is FS
if anyone
Expo
does drop
Friday,
in,
Friday,
let
June
me know.
21st at the Rio in Las Vegas. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to start with a series of new product reveals from developers, big and small. Following that is our attendee welcome reception happening right across the way. Free drinks, free appetizers, sponsored by AnyBuilds. That's what's going on today. I'm going to ask all of you to please let the exhibitors set up in the exhibit hall. They have today for that purpose.
If anyone's listening right
You
now,
all get
so I
access to the exhibit hall
apologize.
starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So on Saturday and Sunday, you have exhibits in the exhibit hall. You have seminars right here on this stage. There's the FS Elite stage located in the exhibit hall, workshops, and a whole lot more. We'll be talking all about that. That all goes from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sunday. So that's a big picture view of what's happening this weekend. Let me give you a couple of important reminders. First of all, restrooms located either immediately to the back of the room out those doors, or there's a second set of restrooms to your left. Feel free to get up and use those.
Still working our way through the admin portion of the show here. Hopefully we'll get to some announcements soon. I think we've got some really good stuff lined up today, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. I've been excited all week ever since we saw some of the people that we're going to present, so should be pretty cool.
Our event space, definitely important to stay hydrated, so those are for you. Please feel free to use them. And in terms of emergency exits, the doors that'll be off to your right, those go through a quick service corridor and to the outside. Alternatively, you can go straight out the back and then head that direction to get outside. There is free attendee Wi-Fi in the space. You can connect to the Rio guest Wi-Fi network. No need for a password. I am sure that on all 2,000 of you try to connect to that, the speed is going to be phenomenal. So perhaps if you have cell data, consider using that. But for those of us from overseas, if you have trouble connecting on your cell data, the Wi-Fi is there. It is for you. It'll work throughout.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a trouble when we first got the show started. The stream seemed to drop, but it looks like it's holding steady for me right now. Hopefully it's showing up for you guys well too, if you're checking it out.
Watching with some of our partners, FS Elite, Flights with Joel Mustafa, and plenty more. Everything that you're going to see today is free for the entire community online. Starting tomorrow, all of the Brasilia Room seminars on this stage are available to our online-only event.
Yeah, that's a fun thing. So you can always register online and watch the show if you don't think you're going to be there. I haven't decided if I'm going to live stream my reactions at any of those or not, but we'll give it a shot. We'll see how today goes. How unbearable this is for people that are listening.
And if you'd like, you can also become an FSA captain, help us out a bit more. For those of you in the room, you get access as well to those live streams and recordings. So if you find that you can't be in 3 places at once, which is what this show kind of requires, then you do have access to watch everything right here in this room back after the show's over. There's also free parking available at the Rio. That's 24/7, whether you're staying overnight or you're a guest. No special anything required, just park and come on in. Closest parking lot is the convention center lot. That's located kind of just out that way. So you can park, walk straight in, and you're already here. So we have a lot going on this weekend. Let's talk about what's happening on Saturday and Sunday. Like I said, starting things off is the exhibits. I think that's probably what most of you are here for. We have more than 70 booths that will be available starting at 9.
We're certainly dragging out the admin side, but I get it. You know, if you're there, you got a lot to cover. But as someone who's at home, I'm like, let's get the show started. Get WinWing on station. Show me some force feedback gear. But the joy of conventions, managing all the people.
Everything in the exhibit hall is available to you as a FlightSimExpo attendee. There were a couple things that were pre-registration, but you can still walk up and still get access to those.
They say they're going to announce too, I think, later today, where the next year's session will be. 2025. I'm hoping somewhere closer to the East Coast, but we'll see.
And again, a whole bunch of other things happening all throughout.
And please do let me know. I make no guarantees how good my audio is. If you hop in and you're like, goodness gracious, I can't hear what he's saying over the video or vice versa, let me know and I can try to adjust the volume for you.
Seminars happening here all day Saturday and Sunday. But then in addition to that, we've got developer Q&As, live demos, and stuff happening in the exhibit hall. That is right in the middle of the action, so you'll be able to enjoy those all weekend long as well. I'll talk about where you can find the schedule here in just a couple minutes. Also our on-site workshops, so the home cockpit building workshops.
So this is a really cool feature that I wish I could take part in. They had these on-site workshops. Essentially, it's not included with your admission, but if you pay a little bit more, you get access to like sessions such as like, oh, let's build a button box together, or do this other hardware focused thing together, and you get access to all the materials. It gets to go home with you at the end of the day. So boom, you do a 2-hour session and you got your own little button box to take and play around with. So that's pretty cool.
To all FlightSimExpo attendees, you might want to take a quick picture of this slide. It has the codes on it. So Penn and Teller, the magic show, very family friendly. That is, I think, 30 or 40% off. And then there's Comedy Cellar, 2 shows of that per night. As a FlightSimExpo attendee, you save 30% or 40% on those with the codes that are up on the screen. You just walk up and buy your tickets if you haven't bought them online. So great things to do at the end of the show. And there are 2 other events, 2 other nightly shows here, WOW and Chippendales, that are also happening, I think, every single night. So again, lots going on. If you're trying to figure out how the heck you make sense of all this stuff, one of the really exciting things this year, we got this piece of feedback last year. People really wanted the schedule.
Let's see. I feel like the audio is not going out for you guys. Let me try that.
On site, or scan that QR code. You'll get access to see every single seminar happening both here and on the FS Elite stage throughout the weekend. So that's a really easy way.
It's a work in progress.
At the show, there's also a printed event guide with a map and a schedule. We're going to be handing those out tomorrow morning as you walk into the exhibit hall. Also, my favorite subject, of course, is always food, especially because I haven't eaten today. Oh, whoops. Anyway, with respect to food, variety of hot and cold food and drink options available for purchase from the concession stand. That'll be open on Saturday and Sunday. So there's lots on property. There's more than 15 on-property restaurants, but the concession stand is right here, and the restaurants are way over there. So if you do want to do that, it's $4 to $16, the range of options, including taxes and service charges. You can room charge that, credit card, cash. It'll be available in the exhibit hall all day on Saturday and Sunday. Friendly reminder as well, if you booked through our link on our website here at the Rio, you do get a $25 F&B credit automatically added to your room. So
alrighty. 20 minutes in. We got a lot of vendors to get through too. I think they have over 20 exhibitors today in this opening seminar, if you will. So, like I said, Wing, Combat Pilot, Slytherin, Micropros, and then who was the new hardware vendor today?
If you see something that doesn't look right, let us know after the show, and we'll help work.
There is a new vendor that's popping on to talk about force feedback.
Sponsors Orbix, Navigraph, and PMDG. I know we see a lot of logos, we see a lot of sponsor stuff, but for shows like this and FS Weekend, these sponsors literally make the show possible. Like,
sorry about the echo again. Streaming newbie, accidentally turned my speakers on. We're gonna get it all figured out. So this is way less polished than my podcast, which in and of itself is also not very polished. So you're gonna get the whole online experience with me today. Totally understand if you decide to take your listening elsewhere, but hopefully it's a somewhat enjoyable experience today. I think, like I said, we're gonna have a lot to settle into here later once the teams get started talking about some of these hardware reveals. But yeah, I was trying to track down the one I saw earlier, Moza, M-O-Z-A, I think is the group that I'm most interested in. They're going to be talking about their new set of flight sticks, but the base, they also have pedals coming out, a throttle, but the base is the big one that seems to have gotten people's attention. They're teasing a force feedback base, and evidently these are more of a car sim. So if you're into racing, that's kind of their bread and butter, making steering wheels with force feedback capabilities. So they evidently upended the market there with Thrustmaster and Logitech. So hopefully they can do the same on the flight sim side as well. So
I said, well, hey, we've got like 150 people doing these ATC tours, which, by the way, is the most number of tours the FAA has ever done at Las Vegas Airport. They're doing that for us. And Field Air's like, well, hey, can we help cover the cost of the transportation? And so thanks to them, instead of paying $20, you pay $10, right? So every little
that's the other interesting thing. If you go to the convention, there's like opportunity to do a lot of in-person things beyond just the convention itself, such as tours of air traffic control facilities or other events they organize. So they do really try their best to kind of make this a holistic experience beyond just the flight sim stuff you do at home, the hardware side too. But and granted, most of that's civilian oriented. I think they've made a lot of progress getting into the military side of the house, so I'm hoping that will continue. Got to start somewhere, right? And you have to have the military flight sim community also invest in this sort of convention. So they've done a lot of outreach. Hopefully that can continue in the years to come.
Buying them or they're not going to keep coming back. But I guess people are, because they do keep coming back. So tomorrow, alongside many, many other giveaway items, you'll be getting some iCloth wipes as you walk into the exhibit hall. And last but not least, talking about support, of course, is our amazing FlightSimExpo ground crew. These guys, sorry, I always get choked up when I talk about this, but it's so cool. They're just friends of mine. It shows you what a terrible friend I am, because I make them come here, I make them pay, and then I put them to work. Gosh, I'm brutal. But they really do. They pay their own way. They pay their own travel. Then they basically set aside like 5 to 10 hours during the actual show to help you guys move T-shirts around, do whatever needs to be done on a moment's notice. So thanks, guys. There are apparently something like 17,000 years of flight sim experience in this room. Now, who here has been flight simming since like the 1980s, Sublogic days, hands up? Right? Yeah, that's good stuff. Apparently, one of you has been flight simming since 1883.
That would be impressive. 1883. Well done to you, sir, or whoever you are. Yeah. When starting flight simming? That's a good question. For me, when did I start flight simming? 1994, I think. U.S. Navy fighters, whenever that released. I think that I did play Chuck Yeager's Air Combat. I think that was on a Mac. But, that was probably like at school. So does that even truly count? And it was probably for like 10 minutes. But Navy Fighters by EA was like the first one I really got into. It was a good time. So 24% new to flight simulation. That's fantastic.
And for those of you who are new, who's new? Anyone in this room kind of new to flight sim? Nice. Well, welcome. Here's a couple things for you. Yeah, let's give them a round of applause. I like that.
Yeah, there you go. Welcome the newbies. Everybody starts somewhere, so
about a quarter of you are brand new to flight sim, and here's a couple of seminars that are going to be super helpful for you. The other thing that we love to do for new simmers is our show floor tours. So put on by, again, some of our amazing volunteers. At 12 o'clock on both Saturday and Sunday, you can meet by the registration desk, and a volunteer is going to walk you through the show floor, explain some of the exhibitors who are super helpful for those brand new to the sim. It's totally free, no sign-up required. Just head out to registration at noon. Same tour both days. You can do both, you can do one, but that's a great way to kind of get a lay of the land here at FlightSimExpo. I always put this slide up, North America's Community-Driven Flight Simulation Convention. I actually changed the word conference to convention, so it's a new slide. And I put this here just to kind of call back what I talked about when we were dealing with the whole venue thing. We talk to developers sometimes, and there's going to be some on this stage who've never been in a room of flight simmers. They don't know what to expect. Sometimes I'm talking to developers, and they're kind of hesitant, and I'm like, is it the money? Is it the travel? And they're like, no, I just don't know what it's going to be like. Like, are people going to be mean to me? What's
I could see why developers would feel that way, You right? How often does this kind of community get together? And, most of what they deal with in the forums or online is generally negativity. And that's, that makes sense, right? People are much more, it feels like, at least in the era of the online world, we're much more passionate about what makes us angry rather than what makes us happy. So they tend to get the worst of people, because that's when people really are driven to kind of communicate their feelings about something. Sadly, but it is the way it is, so I understand the trepidation. But it's nice to see a lot of these developers hopefully pushing through that to talk to the community, because that community outreach is important, right? And that's really why I wish we could see Eagle Dynamics and IL2 and some of the other military flight sim devs make appearances here. I don't know how much that'll drive in terms of financial gains, but it's just important to make a presence. Let the community know that you're interested in engaging with them. So.
I know, I feel like I haven't seen you in a year, yeah. It's been great. And of course, the illustrious, the one and the only, Gormfield.
Only about a small fraction you understand what the joke is here. But
yeah, I do not understand the joke, but that's okay. So, I have enough bad jokes of my own. Not that that is a bad joke, but you know what I'm saying.
So you might have to think about that.
We'll talk.
Yes, that's what I said too. And I'm going to welcome as well on the stage a couple of other friends. We've got 3 seats there on the table. So let's please welcome to the stage Factual Gull and Overkill Simulations.
All right, here we go. First presentation. So Overkill, is someone I do follow on YouTube. He talks about military flight sim stuff occasionally, as well as some on the hardware side of the house. So be sure to check him out if you haven't.
Put the cat down.
I do not know the other two. I believe I recognize them. I think they're more Microsoft Flight Sim content creators. So no, I don't dabble in that a whole lot, so I can't really speak to that.
Also content creators. They will be seeing this content just like you for the very first time today. And they will be here hanging out with you, reacting live, sharing their thoughts, their comments, and their feedback as we go through the presentations in rapid fire format. We're going to have one right after the other, 2 quick breaks, and it is going to be go, go, go all afternoon. But of course, it wouldn't be FS Expo Friday unless we had at least a couple of surprises, right? So I have one to kick things off. Let's have a look at this.
Hi, I'm Alana. At 2:30 p.m. on Sunday, we'll be announcing the date and location for FlightSimExpo 2025.
Oh, there we go.
In the Brasilia room or watch online at that time to find out where next year's show is going to be.
Who could she be? And where is she? Those are the only hints I'm giving. We have been doing this show for 5 years now, and one goal of mine over the last 5 years has been to buy different shorts. I have not done that. These are the same shorts I wear every year. But one other goal has been to announce where next year's going to be at this year's show. So this year, we've signed our contracts, we've got everything in place. We will be announcing where FlightSimExpo 2025 is going to be held right here on this stage at 2:30 on Sunday. You have to be here or watching us online to find that out. You're welcome to try and pry it out of me. I love hearing your guesses. Feel free to share where you think.
So I've turned the audio up a little bit on the stream, so you can hear a little bit more of the expo, but then hopefully have a clipper set in so when I talk, it'll decrease it for you.
No, he's wrong. Oh, no. Sorry.
Stupid cat.
Anyway, like I said, time for FS Expo Friday, time to kick things off. I'd like to welcome to the stage our first presenter from Bluebird Simulations. That would be Shervin. So Shervin, would you come up on the stage, please? And
Bluebird Simulations. All right. I don't really know much about them, so let's see what they got to say.
Hopefully he's here. I saw him.
They're walking the wrong way.
Is he really?
They were getting the mic.
No, you got to come this way. There you go. That's good. We figured it out. Very good. So we'll say hi. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Welcome,
why don't you
Bluebird.
Come over here. I'm going to hand things off to Moose and the panel, who will be taking you through this afternoon's series of presentations. So Moose, over to you.
Alrighty. Do you guys need any time to set up? Or
Just
you
give
guys
us about 1 minute.
Just a minute? Okay.
Yeah.
So while they're setting up, guys, let me just introduce myself and my panel here. Most of you apparently know me already from the Cheers, so I assume. But my name is Mustafa. I'm a streamer on Twitch. I'm not just some Joe Schmo that Evan found in the gutters in Vegas. I've been coming to this show.
That would be interesting if you just say, hey, come over here. Let's go do a flight sim convention together. Random person I've never met before.
To my left here is Factual Gull.
I'm
and
just some lady.
She's just somebody, apparently.
Yeah.
So, and then finally, Overkill Simulations right here. You may have seen his tutorials and other streams on
Loud cheers from Overkill.
Yeah. And
Probably
Factual
pretty
Gull
well
also
known
streams on Twitch, right?
in this particular community.
So we're just going to be providing some commentary, live reactions of what's going on here. So no pressure to Bluebird, but if they don't do a good job, it's like a roast.
Apologize if you hear me pouring a drink in the background. We're settling in. I think this thing could be like 4 hours long, so caffeine is going to be a must this afternoon. So
Oh, maybe a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of gambling. How many people have already done some gambling while they're here? Okay, I see a few hands. All right. Better question, how many people have won anything? Oh, okay.
I mean, since we're in Vegas, I feel like you could just start taking odds out front. Like, when do you think the next DCS patch release? 10-to-1 odds that they stick with July 3rd.
All right, Bluebird, take it away.
Yeah, so that was something that came out today, if you hadn't already known. I talked about on the show previously, we were supposed to have a big new release for DCS coming on June 26th. Unfortunately, that is now changed, and we're down to just waiting for a week from now. Now, a week from then, July 3rd. So, but hey, better late than never. So, still excited. Still should be a ton of content coming our way in that one. Just delayed a week.
I really hope we'll keep you guys entertained. We have a lot of stuff to cover, so I'm going to, get through this really quickly. But I am curious, how many here have heard about us? How many know who we are?
I do not, sir, but blow me away with what you got.
All right. So I'm going to just do a quick just introduction. So I started Bluebird back in September 2020 during the pandemic. Had nothing better to do, right? So called a couple of friends. Originally it was 4 of us, and it's grown now to over a dozen people. And we're from all over the world, and all of us share, I have Human here, he's one of our amazing system programmers here, and we all share a passion for flight simulator, for development, for aviation.
Interesting.
And really
I wonder
the
if we're,
products that
are we
we're
looking at the
bringing to
Heat War
market,
equivalent of
every plane that
Microsoft
we
Flight Sims, per chance?
We put a lot of love and work into it to make it truly one of the best planes that you can get for Flight Simulator. And again, with our first project that we
Microsoft Flight Simulator is this game that I continually try and just, it never clicks. I don't know why. I've just, throughout my life, I've never really been interested in civilian aviation. I don't, maybe, I don't know what that says about me. I have to have like a mission. I think that's what's always drawn me to military flight simulations. I need we got to go do a brief with a stated objective. Let's go achieve it. Teamwork, rah, rah, all that stuff, right? Civilian flight sim, I mean, that's not to take away from the good work that all those men and women are doing every day. It's just not the same for me. I think Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 that's coming out this fall with the introduction of missions could radically change that for me. So that's kind of one of the reasons I'm starting to pay attention more and more to some of the content that's coming out to Microsoft Flight Sim. I'm not flying it a whole lot, but even if something as simple as like a virtual airline job would probably be enough for me to engage more. Like, I really have no interest in driving, but a truck simulator, for example, like those driving simulators, that interests me because there's like a game component, right? The gamification. So maybe I think if you could add that to Microsoft Flight Simulator, that'd be a win for me, at least. I don't know how any of you feel about that. Obviously it clicks with enough people who just enjoy flying and seeing the world. I'd be fascinated to know how much bigger the market share for a game like Microsoft Flight Sim is compared to like a DCS or an IL2. We can probably infer some stuff, and I've always thought it's like 5 or 6 times larger at least. But I'd love to see like some Steam sales figures. Would be wild. Just sales figures in general for any games in the military flight simulation community would be really interesting, right? I'd love to know how much, for example, single player campaigns for DCS or IL2 actually sell. I think we have a good idea of what aircrafts are more popular, but like, what are we really talking about? What's the single player versus multiplayer community difference actually look like? Those sort of things, which, the development studios obviously have, but it'd be really, really cool to see it on our end as well. See, like, this is a great example. Would I fly FedEx missions in Microsoft Flight Sim? Yep. Honestly, probably. That would get me to do it. Am I going to fly a 757 or... I apologize ahead of time. I know none of these civilian planes, so... But would I fly them? Yeah. Not by itself, but if there's a mission, yeah. For sure.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
We should get them in touch with the Eagle Dynamics trailer team. I tell you what, that is the one thing DCS knocks out of the park is trailers. Say what you will about when the modules release, what state they're in, or what features you think they're missing, but the trailers never fail to deliver.
A lot of hours and a lot of time. We work 7 days a week. We don't know weekends. We just keep working. When we started, for those of you that might not be aware, it was 10 months ago, we did a restructure. We brought on new programmers, very talented system developers. I've been flight simming off and on for 30 years, and I've been doing development for over 20
I wonder if these guys are part-time. If they do it as their side gig.
And I'm very privileged and
I think that's what most DCS third-party devs are.
When we did the restructure, we
Or at least it appears.
System, the avionics, and the flight management system. So with the electrical system, we simulate 20 electrical buses, and I love to say circuit breakers. I know pilots don't use circuit breakers, but when we were doing this thing from building it up from scratch, it made sense to add the circuit breakers. So it's a very complex electrical system.
You know, I don't know. All the aircraft I flew in the Navy use circuit breakers, so I guess that's probably not true of modern aircraft. I mean, none of my aircraft are modern, let me tell you. There's nothing more depressing than when you look back on your flight career. You're like, every aircraft I flew no longer exists and it's in the boneyard. That is depressing. Or when you get old enough and they're like, yeah, that ship you served on, yeah, that is also no longer operating. And in fact, we'll probably just sink it soon or something like that, right? Those things, you're like, Jesus, I'm old.
Doing a great job. I personally have recorded sounds. Boris has recorded sounds. The pilots that we have recorded sounds. We have a huge sound repository on the 757 and 767 as well. So we want to really make sure that immersion with the sound.
So we're one presenter in, and we're 45 minutes in this show. They weren't joking when they said this thing might go till 8. I have no idea if I will stream until 8 o'clock, but you know, we'll give it a shot. I'd love to get through at least some of the wing stuff.
Switches in the flight deck alone that you can play around with, and we're just making sure that all the light, the ambiance is correct. So now this is kind of a broad statement. Fully simulated aircraft system. Every system that we touch, we want to make sure is as accurate and fully simulated as possible. We did a demonstration a while back in one of our videos of the air conditioning system, for example, that takes into account if the flight deck door or windows are open, or if the passenger doors are open. That affects how the rate of air is transferred between the different temperature zones. So you're going to see it, either heating up or cooling down quickly. Also, the outside air temperature will be affected. If the window shades are up or down, that affects the temperature inside the cabin. And then, so again, every system that we touch, we're going to make sure that we really simulate it to a high degree. And the last thing I want to mention is the terrain map. We did a preview of this a while back, I think in our January video. So we have a really accurate terrain map that you'll be able to use. And then one of the items, or I guess the systems that I want to focus on, is the flight management system. As a pilot, this is going to be the system that you're going to interact with the most. One of the highlights here is that we decided that we need to do a fully custom autopilot from the ground up in order to make the plane behave the way that we want it to. So late last year we started the coding for that, and we've made a lot of progress on it. But there's going to be 3 flight control computers independently working on their own circuit. And we're also very mindful of performance and making sure that it performs very well no matter what your computer is. We have our own custom debugging tool that we use to make sure that no system is taking up too many frames.
I wonder how much of the Microsoft Flight Simulator community, like their modding experience or the third-party development experience, what that's like compared to DCS. You know, I can't remember the name of the Microsoft team that developed Asobo or something. Who develops Microsoft Flight Simulator? Anyway, do they embrace third parties more? Do they have like a development kit that makes life easier? How different is their experience from like a DCS modder?
To a flyover waypoint, and then it does the turn to the next waypoint. You can see the curved courses.
Sobo. Okay, so I wasn't too far off.
The next thing I want to mention is the flight deck. Now, for the longest time, I was calling this the V5 flight deck.
I tell you what, like, yeah, get your little measuring tool out. That's how you make some good old button boxes. I feel like I've been trying to do that more and more, is get into the button box side of the house, especially with 3D printing. So we'll probably talk about that more and more on the show. There's so many great content creators out there putting stuff on YouTube about how to use CAD programs, what their inspiration is for how they design their button box, whether you want to make it like a lifelike exact recreation of like an F-15, F-18, or if you want to just do your own thing too.
The yoke that you see here is accurate to 1 millimeter, so it's a high touch item.
So lots of good content to share from the community in that regard.
So these are the kind of things that we did. And then we're going to have the option of 2K, 4K, or hybrid textures, depending on your computer. And you can go switch back and forth between them. You don't have to just pick one and stick with it. You can try it out and see which ones work best for you. But again, you can see some of the screenshots here. I used a vernier caliper on. I have, whether it was in the flight deck or I have some parts. To the dismay of my wife, I bought a bunch of cockpit parts and brought them. She was like, "What are these boxes here?" So I used them to do measurements to make sure that we get it as accurate as possible.
Yeah, raise your hand if your spouse has had to deal with
Now
you
I'm gonna give you
buying
guys
too many
an
pieces
update
of
on the
military
767.
flight sim hardware or
Start of the
cockpit
show is the
hardware, right?
75.
I
Now,
have so many random Amazon
on the
toggle
767.
switches
You know,
and
'cause when we announced the
push buttons
767 in
and
January of
you
2023, there
know,
were some people saying,
rotary encoders
"We know
and
what we're doing.
potentiometers, stuff I didn't even
75
know what it was like 4 years ago. And then this hobby takes you down the
So
dark rabbit
just
hole of
talking about
SimPit building, and there you
767 kind
go.
of you know,
You get all
slowly to the
these
back
new
burner,
side hobbies you didn't even know you
that
wanted.
up until when it's ready, and then we'll start fully developing it. It'll be next year when we get into full development of the 7.6. Now, with the 7.6, we have a ton of data. I mean, I personally took about 9,000 pictures of the
Phew. This, you know, this
767
experience they're outlining really reminds me of what Grinelli's been documenting with their F100 development experience for DCS. That's just the amount of time and effort these developers put in. You know, it does. I wouldn't say it goes unnoticed because it really shines through in their final products, but that's just that little work behind the scenes that if you want a quality product, you just got to put the hours in. It's impressive.
As a free update, and we will have like a paid expansion pack for the 200 and 300 cargo again later down the line after the 767 is released. And again, accurate flight dynamics tested by real pilots, no brainer there. And then of course, again, our goal is to make this the most accurate 767 ever created for flight sim. For those of you that remember the Level D 767, that was one of my favorite planes. I love that plane. I'll fly it all the time. I mean, this is going to fill that void for you guys, I promise. Later on this year, we plan to show textured previews of the 767. Now, we'll show just a quick video, 1-minute video, just showing.
See, it would be so cool if we knew DCS was going to be here,
where we're at right now,
or if we knew
with the level of detail.
IL2 devs were going to be here to just, you know, how cool would it be to demo your CH-47 feature list today? Yeah. Or talk about the Afghanistan map, show a new trailer, show like a video of a couple of your testers flying around. You know, it doesn't have to be, it's easy for me to say this, right, as non-developer who's not responsible for selling anything, but it doesn't have to be this incredibly polished thing that has been vetted through 15 people. It could just be, hey, let me show you a live look at what we got. I think that would be really, really appreciated by the community. But, you know, that's just me. What do I know? I say this with no disrespect to the team at Bluebird, but I hope there are time limits on these sessions. I'm ready. I'm ready for the next. Let's get going. Sorry, Microsoft Flight Simulator fans. I've moved on from looking at these modern jets. I'm ready to go onto the military side of the house, or at least talk about some hardware. Let's do that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. And I think I'm doing a lot better on time here. So I want to go back real quick to the 7.5 and also give a quick shout out to MK Studios. Thank you for lending us your Keflavik scenery. It was amazing. We had a lot of fun taking different videos with it. So thank you, guys. I don't know if you guys are in here, but thank you. So now, guys, let's see if this cooperates. All right. We had to. We're going back.
Surprise! Everybody likes surprises.
We wanted to
so
announce this or not. It's no release date, so don't.
And he's got that down right. Like, let me. Hey, before we do this, everybody, let's get it under control. Calm down a little bit. Reel in your expectations.
And to kind of work on a project. Now, again, I want to emphasize this doesn't affect the 7.5 or 7.6 in any way. But we were also.
Wonder what unnamed aircraft coming out for DCS would really capture the attention of like the community and really grab hold, like, and like get people excited, like, oh my god, I didn't know that was coming. For me, it would be like a bomber, right? The B1 that we always see in these trailers. How about we get a full fidelity version of that? That would be pretty sweet. I don't know, just something like that, something off the wall. Like, I mean, I'll get excited about another modern day fighter or Cold War fighter, but like, I don't know, we got a lot of those. I'm just trying to think of something really different. And I don't really think a World War II bomber could be interesting. That would be sweet. I'm trying to think that, like, I kind of want to see how that, I want to see a little bit more on the World War II side of the house get developed, specifically from a map standpoint, before I really want to dive in on that. In terms of, I think, the community embracing it. I think the fragmentation of the Channel map and Normandy map, which are great maps, don't get me wrong, but like, it's just like a lot of, like, when you just enter DCS for the first time, you buy a module, at least you can play on Normandy or on Caucasus. I really think there needs to be a free World War II map, and in some ways, I guess Marianas will go away toward covering that, but I don't know. If you like want to buy a German fighter, then you instantly almost have the prerequisite of having to buy a World War II map too. It's kind of and then the asset pack, you know, that starts to add up. But I mean, I guess you factor in like a Focke-Wulf 190 plus the asset pack plus a Normandy map. It's probably the equivalent price of the Kiowa right now. So, I mean, $787. Okay, that gets some people excited.
I'm glad we got that reaction. I really did, because some of the team was like, "We're going to get some booze." I'm like, I don't know. We'll see.
Now, you only get booze at
we had
live
a lot of
events
people
if
asking
you're
what we do, so
Blizzard
I was
introducing Diablo for mobile, when people really just wanted Diablo 4.
I wasn't really
Probably one of the funniest moments in
committed to it.
a live video game convention I've ever seen. You guys all got phones, right? If you haven't seen it, you should go look it up.
We have a lot
It's
of
good.
resources on this plane. So any plane that we do, we want to make sure that we have the correct amount of resources to accurately simulate it. So this is going to be really good, but I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to take a little bit, guys. So we still have, you know, the 7.5 to work on, and then the 7.6, and then this is on the back burner. But it'll be there from when we're all ready to get the whole team on there to work our magic on it. But I'm glad you guys, you know, like the previews. That's all I have. I have 2 minutes left, but really I want to again say thank you so much to the community. You guys have embraced us. I know that, you know, it's been 3 years that we've started working on the 7.5, and now I'm ad-libbing here, guys. So I'll just say, look, it's been an amazing journey. A part of that was just kind of discovering the new sim platform, figuring out how things work.
I wonder how much of this work is going to be transferable to the folks that to Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. You know, a lot of these developers have kind of been on the fence, because I don't know how much of that information is getting leaked back to the teams in terms of from Microsoft, right? Like, will all of your products just transfer over? I imagine there's a lot of changes, but maybe not. Is it a new game? Is it like 50% new? Is it 20% new? I don't know. Because if you had can you imagine if like DCS 2.0 came out tomorrow and all of the modules you bought, they're like, they might work. I don't know. I mean, it's like hundreds of dollars, so thousands probably for some people. Actually, you know, you think about it. It'd be funny. They should just have signs to grade the presentation when they're done. And to the judges, 7.5, 6, you know.
in the beginning here, with making it all about not only just showing you kind of what they're working on, but some big surprise reveals. We really want this to be the place where you make your big announcements and say, hey, look what we're doing. So great update on the 57 and 67.
I agree with that. This is a, you know, you have this cool venue. Let's lean into these large announcements. I think I talked on Reddit the other day on Hagen about that. Why not make this like the E3 of military flight sims, or flight sims in general? I think that's a really cool thing.
So, admittedly, I need the help with the airliners, but I do watch a lot of YouTube and Twitch channels, as you both know, of people who fly airliners and not the smaller planes like me. And so I really
no shade on these content creators whatsoever, but live reactions are not needed by me. Let's just roll through the announcements.
Admittedly, I'll likely be appreciating this,
you know,
as a viewer, for the next little while.
Save that stuff for later in the show or everyone's own content channel.
Thank you.
Says the guy who's commenting in real time about what he thinks about these announcements. So
aircraft from the ground up. They're not building the plane as they fly.
Yeah.
As it flies. No,
that's true. That's
from
true.
the ground up. Yeah.
Always smart.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts there, Overkill?
Well, I'm absolutely just blown away by
Oop, someone's mic doesn't work.
but I gotta ask, 57 or 67? 57 hands.
Hands up, 57.
Hands up, 57.
Got a 57. Do we have a 67? Do we have a 67?
All right, hands down, 67. Hands up, 67. All right,
Hands up, F-15E with a functional radar. Dude in the back. There you go. Nice. So, all right. We're moving on. Let's go.
Try to keep it to what's coming soon.
Next up.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But no, I'm absolutely blown away. And then when I saw the sharklets on the engine there, like that was a giveaway. That was the 87. It's like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
it's gonna be good times.
It is going to be a good time. So thank you, Bluebird. Looking forward to what you're bringing out. Next up, we have, is it Fabian? Yeah. Yes, from FlightSim.com, and they're a first-time exhibitor featuring one of the new force feedback yokes that's available.
Ooh, okay. All right. Here we go. Maybe this will get the force feedback train started for today. Not necessarily looking for a yoke, but that said, hey, with the introduction of the C-130 and some other aircraft that are going to be coming to DCS, I could see it having an application. Oh, the founder of FlightSim.com.
Good afternoon,
All right.
everyone. I hail from Singapore. Anyone has been there before, Singapore?
Great city. If you haven't had a chance to check it out,
We are number
great
one
city.
For everything, including cost of living.
Yeah, I bet.
Why should you care? Because if you want to come to Singapore and do flying, it's going to be, write it down, $650 per hour. Wet.
Woof. Woof.
I think at that price, you're better off buying my force feedback yoke.
Yeah, well played,
Similarly
sir.
priced.
Well played.
Sorry, not pitching. Yeah, just kidding. So, my name is Fabian. Allow me to introduce myself since I'm really new to this community. My previous background was a management consultant. Today, I run a flight school, which is simulator-based only. I own the Redbird MCX, and what we do is that we train students in Singapore,
Interesting.
as you know, because it's so expensive to learn to fly in Singapore.
Yep, makes sense.
15 hours in the sim. We fly them to the US, and they earn their PPL, private pilot license, in 30 days or less. So if you think about simulation, I can assure you I've been doing it for 7 years. Most of my students get their private pilot license in 30 days or less. My fastest beat my record. Well, mine was 19 days. His was 16 days.
That's
0 to 40 hours.
that's wild.
So don't mess with simulators. This stuff works. Another evidence of simulation working is not to boast that I aced my private pilot in 19 days, instrument in 10, multi-engine in 5, and eclipse rating, single pilot in 14 days, all thanks to simulation. Here's evidence of myself.
I mean, there's a reason we do it, right? There's a reason it's popular in the military. Well, not to mention, like, just his point, right? Cost savings alone.
Here's me again.
If you get the right
And
environment, you have the right training
The reason
pipeline
why
set
I'm
up,
here is
it's
the reason why all
extremely
of us
valuable.
are here.
I can attest to that from the instrument side of the house for sure.
Some of us are more fortunate. I've had the good pleasure of flying all over the world in my little private jet. And by the way, the acquisition of the Eclipse was my single worst financial decision in my entire life. Stick to simulators. Seriously. That's how you go from millionaire to broke. But, I mean, how do I tell you the feeling when you're in the front of the cockpit, landing in Iceland, Greenland? I mean, places that you will probably never see except in Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yep.
Now, I'm not sure whether you heard what I said. This is
You know, I had the
Greenland,
pleasure of visiting Norway
Greenland.
recently, and then I fired up some of that exact,
What you
those
realize,
exact locations in
Greenland
Microsoft
has no
Flight
ice,
Simulator,
Iceland
and it
has
was
no green.
incredible. The
You will never know this.
similarity, it really goes,
Evidence
it's a
that,
testament to
I
the
really
quality
feel that
of
this is
product that
Microsoft,
Microsoft Flight Sim is
Greenland,
making.
Probably not your choice destination, even as a simmer. So life has been good. Pretty awesome. Allow me to introduce my company, FlightSim.com. We are based in Singapore, and Singapore is not part of China, just to be clear. So what we want to do is to revolutionize flight simulations as a whole, and our major segments are serious flight sim enthusiasts, which all of you count. I mean, you travel,
Yes.
I don't know where you came
For
from,
sure, bro.
right? For a freaking game. I mean, you guys are nerds. You deserve an award. All of you.
There it is. Game knows game, dude.
You guys too, you know?
You're in a safe space. You can.
I've never
We can
seen
talk to
a
each other about what's for
community
real.
take gaming so seriously. I mean, what do you do when you crash? Do you cry? No
No,
idea.
when I crash, it's time for the bathroom break. So that's the best thing about
That's
it.
correct. Maybe you restart because it's a Windows computer, remember? It's not guaranteed. Restarts are not guaranteed on Windows. Sorry, Bill Gates. So our goal is to build quality hardware. So forgive me if I say that our yokes are affordable. You know,
Launch a range of
viewers get
affordable
blasted
FAA
when
certified
you
and
say affordable.
fixed base and
Affordable
full
for what it
motion
is.
simulators. All
Let me
right.
tell you
Well,
this.
that'll be appealing to some.
How I defend my affordability is very simple. My force feedback yokes are cheaper than your iPhone 15. Okay? So please, don't give Apple your cash.
Well,
Give
you
us the
know,
money
I mean, I
because
guess
you
the
get
counter to that
more
is you're
utility.
like me. You're using your iPhone all day.
Talking about
Like,
products,
I'm lucky to get down to my flight sim
first
setup like
introduced the CLS
twice a
60
week.
and
But
the CLS 120 just
if you're serious about
last
this
month,
stuff,
in fact,
yeah,
on Indiegogo and on website.
you make it
I just
work.
want to share with you some facts that you may not be aware of. Number one, it's modeled after the 172. And since you guys are geeks, I'm going to give you geeky data. It's full-size 172 yoke design, 60 newtons maximum pitch force, which coincides with the pitch force of a 172. We have 4 Newton meters of maximum roll force. It's like a part-time gym if you use my yoke. You don't have to go to the gym. You can cancel your membership. The shaft length is 165, true to the original 172. But there's more. We built it to be modular in design. For example, the motor can be upgraded from 60 newtons to 120 newtons without buying a new yoke. The yoke handle can be replaced if you break it or if you want to upgrade. In fact, I'm going to show you our newly released 737 yoke. And we also built flight consoles for those of you who find home cockpit building too difficult.
I'm curious about the console
All our
thing.
products are backed by a 1-year
Fits
guarantee.
perfectly into our FC50 and FC100 flight
The
consoles.
pricing is
Probably
affordable.
one of the like a pre-mixed
Okay, that's
whole
exactly
front
iPhone
cockpit.
15
I think
model.
something modular would be really interesting, right? Like,
The next line of product is our FC100
Yeah, see,
flight console.
you could make that work for DCS Route too, but
Pretty much, did I?
it'd be cool if you could design it. Like, I want these features. I don't want these features. Like a little more customization. But
Simulation, and our FC100 for twin engine simulation.
interesting.
Some quick facts. I mean, I just want to take a photo because I'm running out of time so quickly.
Oh, there is a time limit.
Basically
All right,
replaces
time limit
keyboard and mouse
confirmed.
for most of the major functions, whether single engine or twin. Of course, for the twin, we have dual throttle prop mixture. The throttle console is modular as well. You can swap it out in dual magnetos, alternators. We have, for the twin, the elevator rudder aileron trims. And for simulation, we have the hops meter, so you can use this to log the time. Well, not officially, but to keep track of your time, and the freeze button to pause, unpause. 1-year warranty and affordable compared to buying a new aircraft.
Well, yeah, or buying a car.
Now, I was warned to share new stuff.
Yeah,
So you like new stuff? you get new
exclusives.
stuff. Starting with our G1000 console. Yeah, I know you've seen it before. But ours is different, right? So says me. What is the difference is our G1000 was designed out of a FTD level 5 simulator. So drop by our booth tomorrow if you want to feel the difference of the G1000. You have to feel it. You can't really see it in terms of the twist of the knobs and the buttons.
Yeah, you know, it'd be interesting with some of the other aircraft coming online recently where you might be doing more logistics-based work or regular, just normal what am I trying to say? More like just normal navigation without the combat side. Like, could something like this be practical for the CH-47 or the C-130? Would you want that? Maybe. I could see some, you know, crossover to our community. Well, I should say we're all the same community, but our subset of the community, if you will.
Extremely vibrant and opinionated Discord community. Thank you to all of you. Sorry for the abrupt cut of the music. It was a free video editor.
That's amazing. Well, yeah, I would clap for that too. Well done, sir. That sounds like something I would pull, but hey.
Because we have to keep our products affordable. So this is what it looks like, retrofitted
I like this guy.
on our CR60 or
I
CR120.
don't think I'm going to buy any of your products, sir, but I like you.
Tomorrow, come down to booth 30.
It's that Deloitte in him. He's practiced his fine-tuned skills of
Premium
presentation and networking.
for the discerning flight simmer. I did warn you. In other news, we are joining the foray out there with force feedback displays.
There we go. There we
Ours is a bit
go.
different. We model it after
Okay.
a project that involved the
So,
A320
a civilian
flight
stick
Yes,
grip.
It's not force feedback, but we are doing some work.
Gonna tease anything else? Is there any military flight sim applications? Modularity?
On this, some secret projects. Anyway, this is not what you're going to get because you can't afford it. Neither can I. So we miniaturize.
Whoa.
And we're going to modify it to be a little bit more consumer friendly.
Okay.
There's one spec I can give you because this is important. It's going to be dual modal like the rest of the boys. It's going to be 50
Look at that grip.
Newton-meter peak force.
Look at that. All right.
Worry about.
I think today's going to be a wild day of hardware for our side of the house.
Competitively priced.
People getting in on force feedback. Just going to be such a game changer for the community. No, competitively priced. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is what I'm really excited about.
Single motor. And the key figure here is it's going to be greater than.
I just wish we had something besides competitively priced, you know? Because, like, what's that mean?
Competitively priced.
Yep.
So start figuring out which body part you want to pawn.
There we go. Yeah. I'm going to sell a kidney.
Because it'll be worth it. Seriously. You will need that for the rudder. Please don't get rid of hands and legs. We need those things. Your eyes. Anything inside here, not so important. God gave us like redundancy in this area.
There you go. The man's got jokes.
And I thought I would do something nice since we are here and we came all the way from Singapore, is to leave one of our force feedback yokes in Las Vegas. I hope you don't mind. Yeah. I mean, since we already broke, then brokers. I would need to create a new category for us, brokers after this. So take note of the URL. This is only for you guys. Please don't spread it around. I mean, you can spread it around. You'll benefit me, but not benefit you. You understand the math? FlightSimExpo. You will see a secret page. Put your name and email address. Please be sure not to have any typos, because if you have a typo, then you understand what's going to happen, right? I'll have to bring
Sorry if I'm not talking a whole lot. I took some screenshots of some of this stuff. I'm gonna try to post it to social media here about those pedals that are coming out. So
Of course, what do you think? Brand new? Come on.
this guy, love it.
Lightly used CLS 60 force feedback yoke, $7.99 value. You'll be $9.99 on 1st July, by the way, because we are losing money for every unit of yoke that we sell. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm an honest guy. Don't you know? Right? So yeah, we have to raise the price because we really lose money on $7.99. So those of you who get your hands on this yoke at $7.99, let's thank your lucky stars. This will be the first and the last time you ever have a force feedback yoke.
So this was a nice little surprise. Like, this is a great way to start it off. So we got force feedback base, plus what looked like a military applications grip, plus force feedback pedals, all at the end of the year. Okay, and I wasn't even expecting anything from this hardware dev. So this is already a good start. I'll take it.
Well, all right. So make sure if you're going to go to that website, careful of the spelling. It's a FLITE sim, not as you might spell flight sim. So you just be careful of that. FlightSim.com/FlightSimExpo. Chance to win a force feedback yoke. Otherwise, competitively priced. So there you go. Overkill, your reactions.
So honestly, actually, guys, if you guys are interested in my genuine opinion, on my channel on YouTube, I just did a video that posted yesterday about that yoke.
Oh.
I actually have one sitting at the house right now, and it is absolutely fantastic. I have personally...
Is your gently used one the one we're auctioning off?
I told you it was a pain in the butt getting here this morning. Anyways, I'll just tell you guys right now, I have actually flown a Cessna 172, and the immersive experience that I had last night, especially after the video in VR, was outstanding.
Nice.
Absolutely. No center D10.
Man, 2024. If these hardware devs really hit their shipping date, it's going to be the year of the force feedback. I mean, only about 20 years in the making, right? So this would be great.
All the ranges of engine RPM to ground roll to just overall force that you can set different profiles based on the aircraft. It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
Very good piece of hardware.
Awesome. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about the G1000, even though it's competitively priced, so I might need to take up gambling.
It's funny how different the interests are in this hobby, and that's what makes it great, right? How much wildly different ways you can take it, and I'm interested, and I only want to do cargo operations with this Army helicopter on desert maps, or you can, I want to fly the world and see Greenland and fly my 757, but just, that whole presentation, and they were interested in this one piece of hardware, and I'm like, I couldn't care less about that,
Honestly,
but I am so interested in this, and it's just, that's what's fun about this hobby, it covers such a broad area of interest, something for everybody.
To augment their training, and it saves you thousands in time. That stuff you would normally have to do in the paid aircraft hours for, that you can work on for free at home, basically.
very competitively priced. Yeah.
Gotcha. So the next presenter up is from Nimbus Simulations, and I believe
Nimbus Simulations, coming out with the Nimbus 2000.
Stuff like that. So please
From
welcome
Harry
the
Potter
stage,
to your doorstep.
Santiago.
It's a great pleasure for me to be here to see so many FlightSimmers and fellow aviation enthusiasts. First of all, who we are. Well, my name is Santiago Naru. I am the founder and director of Nimbus Simulation Studios. We mainly produce add-ons for X-Plane. We started in 2010. We have a little bit of our history here. We try to create products that bring new experience to users. We try to innovate, to have a good balance of performance, visuals, and an overall experience for the user. Right now, our portfolio consists of 3 aircraft, 9+ airports, and other projects. I will be talking about all of them a little bit.
All right, gonna take a quick bathroom
Our latest
break.
release was
So I'll be right
JFK. I
back.
don't know
No
if
offense to
any
this
of you
that
here
guy, but I
have used,
don't think this will be one that I'm
latest
probably planning to
release
cover on the
with
show. So this is a good time to go step
If you
away, and
haven't,
I'll be back
please
in a few
do.
minutes.
So here is a video showing our current products. This is mostly taken in Explain 12.1. So here we go. This is JFK. As you can see, we are trying to create the most realistic environment day and night. Our latest airports doesn't have night textures. We only use lights, so everything works like in the real life. So if you park the airplane below a light, it will going to illuminate it. All the weather conditions affect the visuals of the airports, so it's more immersion. This is dolls. You can see the animated people inside. Custom vehicles, custom 3D models, custom textures, everything is handcraft and custom for each airport. This is Atlanta. And what is coming next is one of our, I don't know if any other airports use things like this, but we can set our destination, our departure time, and it will be displayed on the screen. So if you are in the cockpit preparing your flight and you see that you are delayed, it's gonna show on the screen. You can see right now it's delayed 9 minutes, so it's a little bit of extra pressure that we all need. This is Atlanta, and we also make aircraft. This is the Islander, small, beautiful airplane, nice to fly.
And we're back. There we go.
Next
Now
one
we're
is the
back.
UH-1. Many of you are fans of helicopters.
So I honestly have never even checked out X-Plane, so that's why I'm just. This will be great. I'm sure there'll be people who love it, but I don't know.
In these images, it is flying in
Know what's going on, and it's
that might
unfortunate that we
look like,
can't see it, so it
South
makes it a little bit more
Asia,
difficult to
like not
judge
exactly where.
this portion of the presentation.
And after this, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about a new product that is coming related to this. I don't know if you can identify where is that. So besides our commercial products, we also have professional products. Last year, on 2022, we had the opportunity to work with Bridger Aerospace. They are one of the largest firefighting companies in the world, and we made this product for them. This is a training tool for the very complex and dangerous operation of firefighting. This is all happening in the sim. What you're seeing right now is a forest created from an instructor station, and the fires are also created by the instructor from that station. You can see here the CL-415 flying on the fires. As you can see, all the visuals are pretty similar to real life. But not only that, but physics, all the way the fire spreads, all the way the water works, how the fire is affected by slope.
This would be a mission type that I'm talking about that would be really, really interesting to see in Microsoft Flight Sim firefighting. I hope we get that. I think they've teased that, right? I don't know.
Represented the real life conditions of a fire or of a forest fire. This is a tanker. This is also created from the iOS because one of the most dangerous situations of these fires is there are many planes flying close to each other in smoky conditions. This is the iOS screen, for example. I can show you a lot of details about this because it's their product now. But this is basically what the instructor sees. He can create any scenario here around fires. This is an example of what X-Plane can do and what we can do with X-Plane too. So we are able to create scenarios and training tools for any application, almost any application. And this is a good example of that. So I think that most of you are interested on what's coming. And here we have some things. How many of you suffer of this? We are working on a tool to fix it. Nimbus Pilot Challenge. This is basically a mission editor and a mission flying tool. This is in Explain. This is the way to create a mission. This is a short example, but you can create several kind of missions. You can select what kind of airplane that mission is created for. This is an example of how to place objects inside the sim. This is not a scenery editor. This is a mission creator. So all the objects that you add from this tool can be interactive. They can move, they can react to your presence, to your actions. And this is the way to place them in the sim.
I really know nothing about
there are 3 objects
X-Plane.
out there.
I gotta be honest, I don't think I've ever tried it.
What's coming to, which is probably the most
Ooh.
fun.
Okay.
In the missions, and if you remember what I told before about the Huey flying in South Asia, it's
Here I am talking crap about X-Plane, and they're busting out some Huey stuff. So I stand corrected, good sir.
Of fun and excitement to the simulator. Why is this a solution for the post-flight emptiness syndrome? Because you are also going to be able to share your statistics, your flights, your missions.
So if you're just joining us, welcome. Just missed, this is our 3rd session we've had so far. I don't know how many there are. They teased upwards of 15 developers. So like, we've been averaging about 1 every 15 minutes. So it's gonna be a long afternoon. That said, the last one was FlightSim.com. They teased force feedback rudder pedals and a force feedback base and grip. So very, very cool. So, and if you do jump in, give me a shout. Let me know if you think my audio levels are okay. I haven't had anyone to give me a thumbs up, thumbs down to tell me if it's terrible, if it's working for you. So, no stress if you don't want to either. Just here to watch the show with some like-minded people.
No hydraulic controls, fuel guzzler, beautiful. The 707.
I'm gonna have to check these guys out in Nimbus, see what they're actually doing. I have no idea.
I'm not sure if you are going to be flying this airplane more from the cockpit or from the wing, because I don't know, for me this is iconic, this view. All this is also reacting to physics. So the result of the vibrations, the wing flex, the engine movement, the cockpit vibrations is going to be very realistic, and it's going to be working also in VR because it's not attached to the camera, but it's the actual model that is vibrating.
They're still getting a lot out of this engine. I don't really, well, I guess maybe I'm wrong. Maybe X-Plane did have a new version come out recently. This tells you my knowledge of civilian flight sims. I don't even know.
Work in progress images, so expect
But this does look good.
more results soon, but I think this gives an idea of what it's going to be like. Well, this was supposed to be before the video. And the other thing I wanted to show you, I just have a few seconds, is what's coming today. This is our latest release. And it's going to be, can I have 30 more seconds?
It sounds like I'd love to use that back in high school debate. You know, can I please have an additional 60 seconds? Kind of cool to see the tech guy coming on station to help him. It just goes to show you the level of support you probably have to pull off a convention like this.
It'll be released tomorrow. Today. Our latest airport for X-Plane 12. Can you guess what airport it is?
I do not know.
Not Las Vegas. You got it. Charlotte International is coming for X-Plane 12.1.
Okay, you know, you would think I would know that. I've been to Charlotte enough, but I don't think I've ever seen like a top-down perspective on it. Looks good though, you know.
We are using all the
I only
available
recognize it when I'm inside it and see the rocking
because
chairs.
From default, we are using default, not default 3D models, but the default option for moving jetways. So no extra plugins or no extra trouble. We're using extensive PBR textures, normal maps. All the weather effects are going to be here too. So when it rains, when it snows, you're going to see the effects on the airport.
That's cool. Weather effects, like lasting weather effects that are real with precipitation and accumulation on the ground, I feel like are that one area of flight sim dev that just hasn't happened yet.
As I told you at the beginning,
I mean,
a lot of,
on the priority scale, it's probably really low, right? Give me advanced ATC far before we need to work on some of those weather
better. And when Expo
advancements.
gets the volumetric fog, it's going to be even better.
Yeah, they're. Well, yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's a new what engine they're working with, but they're certainly getting a lot out of it. So, team at Nimbus is doing some good stuff with X-Plane. So, for those that are interested, it looks great. So,
one more thing I forgot to say: we are also going to start developing scenarios for Flight Simulator.
oh, there you go. That's cool.
Keep that in mind. Stay tuned with our
I wonder how transferable some of these assets are between games. You know, like Orbix developing stuff for DCS. How much of that transfers to like Microsoft Flight Sim back and forth? I'd imagine not a whole lot, but you never know.
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. See you later.
All right. First of all, I have to say I'm a little disappointed in you guys because for a gigantic room of flight sim nerds, it took you way too long to identify Charlotte. Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, you gotta show us a location on the Caucasus map, and then we'll answer right away, sir.
Some firefighting stuff, Mission Creator, I mean, 707.
The thing that really stood out to me was the firefighting. I think it's so interesting. It's a little bit different, and it's so relatable too. As someone who just hit my mic.
Yeah, as someone who's living in a location that it's like 97 degrees and it hasn't rained in like 2 weeks, and we're only at June, I too relate to firefighting.
It's something that is happening more and more in aviation, and I love that we can, have access to that in the sim. Looked great.
Gives you a really cool mission opportunity for something.
I'm all about it. Missions are the one key thing, as I mentioned earlier when I was talking about it. Missions are the one key thing that are missing from the civilian flight sims before I'll hop into them. So.
I'm a little disappointed how quiet everybody stayed with a 707.
I know, right?
Right? Like, okay, that's cool, guys. Glass cockpits, I get it. Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't have a TV screen. I don't want to fly that one.
It looks really good with the physics, though. The engine, the wing
the
wobble
whole thing was
and all that.
absolutely
Oh,
impressive.
man,
It's going to be crazy. So,
That's nice.
and one of the things I really like that he pointed out was the fact that it was separate from the camera, because that's actually a very common tactic in using those kind of visual generations, if you will. Yeah. So the fact that you'll be able to see it in VR, especially with where VR is going now, that's going to be a big kicker.
Yes. All right, guys, we are going to take a 10-minute break, so you guys can get up a chance to stretch.
10-minute break.
Stay hydrated here in Vegas because it's very dry. We'll be back in about 10 minutes with Say Intentions.
I have to say, I love that you said dry.
Okay, skip the intro because...
Well, I guess if they're going to take a 10-minute break, we will too. So, be back in about 10 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The program will begin in 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The program will begin in a few moments.
There we go. Helps when I turn the mic on. Looks like they're getting ready to come back, so we're back. I didn't catch who's up next. I don't think it was Windwing. Which would be cool. I think we also got Combat Pilot coming our way, Micropros, Slytherin, I do not know if all of those developers are planning to make a formal presentation.
If you could take your seats, we're going to start the presentations again. We've got Say Intentions.
But that would be
here to
very
talk
cool.
about what's
Say
coming up for them.
Intentions. Okay, that's a
But
new
you
one to me.
can't do that if you're all milling about and talking and making all kinds of ruckus.
Let's see what the old Google says. Say Intention is an AI-powered air traffic control
All right, ladies
solution
and
for
gentlemen,
Microsoft
Say
Flight Simulator.
Intentions.
That's interesting. Okay. Oh, you know what? I think I might have heard about this.
How you guys doing? All right, I am so excited about this because it was almost exactly 1 year ago today when I had a job as the CTO of a healthcare tech company, and we were doing all kinds
It's funny how many of, like, that's 2 of the 4 people have been, like, former tech guys that have just gotten into the flight sim side of stuff.
Programmer. And I said, you know, what flight sim is missing is the ability to have like really good air traffic control, but not necessarily have to talk to a human all the time, that sort of mic fright thing that comes with that. And we chatted about it a little bit, and I said, you know, I think the tech has finally gotten to a point where we could put something really, really cool together. And he was in. He said, all right, I'll build the SimConnect app that runs on
That's pretty
Windows.
cool to be able to go, hey, Dad, help me do my hobby project.
You and I will play with it together. We had 2 goals when we started. The first one was create the most immersive ATC experience possible using the latest generation of AI technology. And we said, you know, when we're done, it might be kind of cool to play with it, you and I. Well, we got a little carried away, as you are about to see. Everything that I show in this video is real. It's live today. And in fact, it was taken off of our live servers. So nothing you see here is scripted. And you could have it right now. Here we go. Check this out. One more.
Palo Alto ground, Skyhawk 172 Sierra Papa type Cessna 172 looking for VFR departure to the north with flight following, and we have information, Papa.
Skyhawk 172 Sierra Papa Palo Alto ground, good morning. Clear to the north, VFR at or below 3,500. Departure will be 121.3.
Delta 1219, good
This
morning.
technology is super cool. I'm not gonna lie. The power to leverage AI to do fill in some of the gaps in the flight sim world right now is honestly limitless. I'm not one to behoove like, oh, AI will solve everything, but I do really think it could pay huge dividends for stuff like this in the community. I'm really jealous of how Microsoft Flight Sim already has this now.
Skyhawk 172 Sierra Papa, you're leaving my airspace. Squawk VFR, frequency change approved. Safe flight, Brian.
Yeah, that's cool.
Can we give us a sample of this storm? Delta 1219, roger, descend and maintain.
That right there, ATC is your partner, not a menu. That's super cool.
KLM 310, climb and maintain flight level 360. That aircraft passing below at your 10 is a citation. Should be no factor.
Can you imagine this, or some really good bogey dope calls, call up AWACS, stuff like that?
Delta 1219, roger. Cleared direct boomer. Descend and maintain 16,16,000.
And the coolest thing is, yeah, what they just alluded to here is you can talk back to this AI voice, and it'll understand what you're saying.
At 1 o'clock, about 1 mile out, you'll see Kalaloa Beach Park. It was part of the former Barbers Point Naval Air Station. The beach is a perfect...
Super cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've somehow managed to reach our cruising altitude of 37,000 feet, despite Captain Chris's best efforts to make this flight feel like a roller coaster. The fasten seatbelt sign is off now, but let's
She's
be
got
honest,
jokes.
you might want to keep that seatbelt fastened just in case he decides to surprise us with some more creative flying.
Pay attention to the sound of the engine. A smooth, steady sound indicates proper mixture.
Delta 1219, we're having trouble with the left engine. Declaring an emergency, need to divert to Tampa if we can. Delta 1219, understood. Safe fuel remaining and souls on board. I'll clear the way to Tampa. send at your discretion, say intentions.
Man, can you imagine? That's super cool, though. You just make that call to the AI, and that's how it responds. Very cool.
Delta 1219, welcome to Tampa. We've got emergency equipment on standby.
So the pricing structure is like the most interesting thing about this, though. I know it's a little controversial when it came up, and he might talk about that, but it's
how cool is this?
Really, really cool.
I got to tell you, I have my moments when I'm sitting in the cockpit and I'm flying with that thing, and I just go, "This is so cool!" Right?
Yeah,
like the little boy
I
in
bet.
me just comes alive when I hear this stuff. It's so cool. Well, like I said, we got a little carried away with our original goal, but I'm glad that we did. The ATC side is incredible. IFR, VFR, 24/7 coverage, 88,000 airports, Oceanic, PIREPS, chatter, traffic advisories, as you heard in there, region-specific procedures. You can pick up a flight midair if you manage to lose VATSIM coverage midair. Just pick it up midair or on the way in, and vice versa, no problem. On the immersion side,
Oh, hey, Selo. Great to see you, man. Dude, I could not agree more. I can't imagine having this in DCS. It'd just be mind-blowing. Also, let me know if my sound is good. I think you're the first person to join chat, and I don't know if I have my audio levels balanced nicely between the show and my voice. So
yes, we model that. By the way, we also have Kennedy Steve. His voice, with his permission, is the ground controller at JFK.
But,
very cool.
yeah, ATC alone would be such a huge win. AWACS GCI would be mind-blowing.
The personality is there, and it's hilarious, yes. Full multiplayer support. One of the important pieces
Awesome.
of this for
You
us
rock,
was
sir.
0
Thank you.
menus, 0 clicks, right? We wanted this to really feel like legitimate ATC.
Okay,
Tablet mode
cool.
view, regional accents, those beautiful.
If you need me to turn up the regular audio, I can do that too.
Your CPU or your frame rate, and you can pause, accelerate, walk away, whatever you want. Like I said, a little carried away.
But the pricing structure of this is the curious part. I'm hoping they'll mention that. Like, I think when this came out initially, you paid for like a certain number of words. I can't remember if that's how this works.
And tons more surprises on the way. Those who've been our customers or have been following us know we announce something pretty cool just about weekly. All of that is coming this year.
Yeah, by all means, man. Jump in, jump out. We got a long way to go. I think there's like 3 more hours of this, so I'll probably be in and out myself, but I'm gonna keep it running.
Right? OpenAI, AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, all of these play critical roles in bringing together the multiple AI platforms needed to make this thing live and real. I'm going to talk about that here in just actually. Let me add that one of the downsides of this, which we're going to talk about in just a second, is that this
Pricing.
platform is eye-wateringly expensive to run.
Yep, there it is.
We bring together also. Oh, let's see. I'm on which slide am I on here? The one on the left? Oh, there we go. I'm on that one. Yeah, I mentioned these platforms that we bring together.
Yeah, you know, PowerPoint does that read ahead feature. I hate that. Just tell me what slide I'm on, man.
This wonderful flight simulation ecosystem. But AWS, Google Cloud, OpenAI.
Oh, so true. So true, Satellite. Subscriptions are just taking over the world right now.
We bring together all of this into the AI, or bring all
Ooh,
this AI
and here we go. Subscriptions.
But we realized not too long ago that the same technology that we're using to deliver ATC can do tons more. So we brought in tour guides, like you saw in the video, right? Cool stuff, right? It is legitimately really cool if you're flying around VFR and those tour guides are pointing out things as you're flying.
I paused because I'm kind of waiting to see if he's going to drop this. Like, is this customizable? Is this an actual price? What are we looking at here?
Procedures and things like that while you're in the air. By the way, fully interactive with both of these. You can ask them questions. They'll answer back. Literally have a conversation. Not too bad for $29.95, but hold on. I don't want any applause yet. Not at that price, right? We've never been happy with that price.
Yeah, I can't. Okay, good. I'm glad he agrees.
Where we've said, look, as the price of the technology comes down, we promise we're gonna make that okay, right? We're going to solve that problem. We can solve it in 2 ways. One of them is by bringing you more, right? There's more we can bring you for that.
But wait, there's more. ShamWow.
I have 2 more things for you. The first one is, as of today, it's live now. We're adding AI cabin crews. Kind of cool,
See,
right?
you know, and this is such an interesting product because I realize at the current moment I'm not the target demographic for this, so some of these features I'm going to discuss really don't interest me. But I could see if this was your main game, $30 a month could be justifiable. But
kinds of features.
I mean, the immersion level it's going to offer is...
I'm so glad you guys noticed
Yeah,
that.
slap chop.
By the way, they adopt
Real.
these personalities, by the way. The grade A group, that's exactly what you would expect on a normal flight. Quitting time?
The quitting time
they've had
crew,
enough.
like any Southwest flight you take
And
at
for
like
those who
10
are
o'clock at
customers,
night.
Raise your hand if you're familiar with our tour guide, Janet. Anybody here? A few people? Okay, good. Janet is very funny, and she is now...
It is an interesting question, though. If you could get ATC, AWACS, GCI, and DCS with this level of quality and responsiveness, what would you pay for that? That's a great question. I'd have to think about that. I don't know, man. I might be willing to pay a fair amount for that.
Technology comes down, we would pass that along to you. Guys, we're making good on that today. As of right now, the price is now $19.95 a month.
Okay.
$29.95 a month. I'm very excited about
All right.
this. We did it.
We're starting to get into the competitive zone there.
We're not done with the price drops, by the way. Again, as the price of the technology platforms continues to go
So
down.
one interesting thing I remember, I think if I followed this software correctly, is they had tiered pricing depending on like what quality of the voice you wanted. If you were just fine with a robotic voice, you know, all the voices you have in DCS right now, you could get it for like $5 a month. And then for $15 a month, or, you know, in this case, 20, you get all the really well done AI voices.
Thank you, everybody.
I think that's a reasonable
Come say hi to us. Come say hi.
division. I don't know if that's actually feasible for economically for them, but that's something I think would be interesting. But 20, we could talk about 20.
Thank you very much.
Like, yeah, getting better,
And I
Sando.
gotta say, I'm
Exactly.
probably never going to be a real world pilot at this point, but now I can cross off being made fun of by Kennedy Steve off my bucket list because I can just do this. So fantastic, dreams do come true. What are your guys' thoughts?
It's definitely a nice milestone in the ATC world. There's a lot of really great ATC things happening in flight simulation, and this is definitely a big one. The price drop, that was pretty kicker. And then the 24-hour free trial, it's a
The
hard
24-hour
argument.
free
Guys are
trial,
afraid of getting into
probably too expensive to offer a trial much longer than that, but like 72 hours would be cool. But I guess after the end of 24, you probably know what you're getting.
Simulation, the different languages, the different accents, you know, being able to use an AI ATC if speaking with a real person isn't comfortable for you to begin with, or maybe ever.
That's a great point, Sedlo. You know,
really
I never thought about that. That's really something intriguing.
I keep hitting my mic. The one person who I know in my real life who is an air traffic
Yeah, if you could introduce this functionality to our game, I can promise you X number of players for Y number of months based on this sales information we have from previous things we've done. What kind of deal can we make? And then that just cuts out so much development time.
As someone who uses VATSIM a lot,
For
there
DCS,
are
that
those
is.
gaps where you take off at full ATC and suddenly you're on your own, or vice versa, and never thought about, oh, I could just pick that up and take the rest of the flight that way with say intentions. Or
I'm fascinated to know under the hood how much of this say intentions technology can actually interact with the game. Like,
we next have
is this just voice, or like, is it actually able to coordinate multiple aircraft coming into the same area? Like, if 3 of us are flying an IFR flight to the same airport, are we all going to get proper vectors? Does it space us out? That's one thing I don't think I've seen.
Director of CAV Simulations. It's an absolute pleasure to be here at FlightSimExpo 2024.
Airport LED
Some
displays.
exciting news that I want to share about our latest products, which are going to be the airport LED displays. But before that, I want to have a little chat about what we do before that. What we started off doing was about 18 months ago, I started off with a simple...
Yeah, right, Salo. Like, it's like, how much of this can interact? Like, could Mission Editor work with this? How much work needs to happen behind the scenes via scripting, or does Eagle Dynamics need to do work where that voice can tap into it? I should do some research on what the team is doing with Microsoft Flight Sim.
Realistic, affordable hardware that could meet the needs.
I imagine it's just voice back and forth, integrating it like into takeoff. But yeah, agreed. But hey, right? I think, like we talked about, I'd probably be willing to pay just for a fair sense of immersion. Like me feel like I'm living in a real world to some extent. That'd be cool.
They've been received very well.
Yeah, true. It is old, dry spaghetti code.
Putting them into your products, putting them into your panels. And I really encourage you to keep sharing those pictures with us. But we offer the full range of the cockpit now, from the FCU, the EFIS, the RMP panels.
Oh,
the
so it's some
seat
DIY
panels,
stuff.
the
Okay, now they got my
rudder
attention.
trim, it's all there.
The Sim Pit Builder and me's coming out. This like LEDs are one thing I've never played around with adding to my
So, our
cockpit.
journey's
I've
been
just done like
incredible.
toggle switches and buttons. Anything I need to like export, I just do onto a second monitor. So, but I can see the appeal. It's really, really cool for some of those folks like the Warthog Project who built their own cockpits. That stuff's pretty sweet.
Ensuring that we give the quality that you all expect. They are out and ready. The next thing that I'm going to be talking to you is about what we're releasing today, which is our airport LED boards, but more on that a little bit later. We really think you're going to enjoy that. So, what are these airport LED boards I'm talking about? These are PCB boards covered in LEDs, denoting all airports that we will be bringing out. At launch, we're doing Heathrow.
These remind me of like an Etch-a-Sketch. Like we have a modern Etch-a-Sketch for you to buy. It's mounted to a PCB.
Live air traffic data.
Yeah, maybe Project Safe. Maybe that tells you where I'm at in my life as well. I'm already in the midst of my midlife crisis. Hence my cockpit building ways.
Virtual world as well, so you can see yourselves moving around the airports in real time. I want to talk a little bit more about those, and I am going to be doing, I'm tempting fate, I'm going to be doing a live demonstration of the real products.
Ooh, live demos. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Features of these boards. Each one of them is meticulously designed to provide an accurate and detailed representation of the airport layouts, including the runways, the taxiways, and the parking.
Yeah, plus what exactly? You know, this is where I'll tie back in. I think I said this earlier when no one was around, but like, man, gosh, I wish Eagle Dynamics was coming up for a presentation later, or even the IL2 folks or Falcon BMS. It'd just be so cool if this was treated like the E3 of flight sims, where everybody like saved one big announcement a year to come up, get on stage, show off the Iraq map. You know, it doesn't have to be done, but just show, you know, show an in progress version, slap draft all over it so no one gets ahead of themselves. But
why would you do that? Well,
just be fun.
Simple things like just by
maybe next year.
On your desk before you even logged in, you can see whether there is an ATC online for that airport.
We do have Combat Pilot though, so it's not like we won't have any flight sim developer there. I'm really hoping they blow us away with what they've got coming for the Pacific Theater World War II style. Can't wait.
Be completely user friendly, with no expertise of any kind required. You can easily swap between different airports very easily, and as I said, I'm going to be tempting fate by trying to do a live demonstration of that. One thing I want to show is we have a singular universal control board which will power.
I'm fascinated to see what this is. Like, I don't think I truly understand what the pictures are showing us.
To run any of our airports without putting all of the expensive logical.
Is this like a knee board thing? I can see where I am at the airport.
Cheaper airports to add to your collection. It's the heart of our system. As I said, it's designed to support any of our airport displays, which we think will help keep the costs down, making if you want to expand your airport collections, you only never need to buy just the one of these. Setting up the board is straightforward. When you power it up, it will broadcast its own access point, like a smart light bulb, a smart plug. You just connect to it, provide it your Wi-Fi details, and that's it. It will start working. You then plug it into one of our airport boards. Just plug it in to the back of the board, and it easily plugs back in. And then if you
thanks for the shout on Twitter. Settler, I appreciate that, man. I was, because I was thinking earlier today, I just want to watch this with some like-minded folks, and I didn't really know where. I mean, a couple people are active in the Flight Sim Association Discord, but they are all more interested in the civilian side. So I was like, let me just kick something off. People can jump in and talk about the military hardware, hopefully in a little bit.
Have it wherever you want. One of the standout features of our system is the flexibility it offers. As I said, you only need to purchase the one. So what about these makes them unique?
Yeah, it is like a modern light bright. That's so true. Great point.
Integration is one of a kind.
I like that they keep cutting to these content creators who are on their phones. I can't tell if they're actually like tweeting about what's happening or just like, I'm not interested in this. Next.
Imagine having this detailed interactive map on your desk while you're in cruise, waiting for ATC clearances, queuing for runways. You can see your own aircraft moving around the airport.
Track both the real world and virtual world. Okay.
The ATC by the tower at every airport has its own LED, and if there is coverage, the LED will light up. And in the real world, obviously, there will be a controller on, so that will always light up as well. We've programmed over 500 different airlines with their own unique colors based on the primary color of their logo. We think this attention of detail enhances the realism and gives you some more level of immersions. Moreover, the data stream for the real-time traffic is going to be completely free, and it will remain free for the life of the product.
I mean, I still don't really know what the product is, but that's impressive. No subscription needed. You already get a win from Settle and I for not adding to our subscription count.
Subscriptions to get premium features such as higher refresh data rates, the ability to choose your own colors for airlines. If you work or participate in a virtual airline, you can give your own airline its own color as you wish. If you don't like the pre-programmed colors, you can change them to whatever you want for your own airline as well. We'll also add the ability for you to identify your particular call sign, and it will blink to let you know where you are, easily find yourself as well.
Man, you might have nailed it, so this is really giving off light bright vibes. I'm still ready to see this demo, though. Show me, man. I got it. Show, don't tell. Here, oh, read my mind. Live demonstration. Here we go.
We're going to talk about setting up, putting things together, and the initial setup itself, from connecting the device to the Wi-Fi and to the server, and to the servers, and then just using the boards and what they look like. So I've got the next slide is going to put up a live camera here, hopefully. Yes, it does. So hopefully you'll be able to get a better look at the board. So I'm going to show you here.
This guy gets points for just having a nice presentation. Well done to go to a live video.
I'm pretty sure it's about midnight in Europe, so there's not going to be much traffic. So we're going to focus on the Las Vegas boards. So let's give you a closer look at one of the universal control boards. It's a simple camera's in the middle, isn't it? It's a simple product here. It's got a power connector, which then powers the actual board itself.
Poor guy's adrenaline's going crazy right now. His hands are shaking. I don't blame him. Live demos, especially if something you poured your heart and soul into, probably like this guy has. I'd be nervous too.
If you wish. Simple reset buttons and stuff like that as well, but that's literally the only interaction with that is plug in the power.
You got this, dude.
And as I said, it just then connects to the board here. Now I'm just keeping an eye on my time. I want to show you this working, so let's get this in here. When it powers up, it will scroll up and down, saying it's connecting to the servers.
Well, that looks pretty sweet already. I don't know what's happening, but looks good. So you have to order a board for every airport you want to be at. That's an interesting thing.
All the aircraft currently live at Las Vegas. Excuse my shaky hands. We've got all the parking stands in red, aircraft on the taxiways in green, and the aircraft on the runway currently denoted by the different colors.
That's kind of cool.
This is the standard data rate. So you're not
I feel so bad. He's nervous. He's shaking.
And I don't know.
You're doing great, dude.
There's anybody on VATSIM, but I'm going to very quickly press the button here. And that is currently live VATSIM as well. It's as simple as that, just by pressing the data source buttons on here.
That's cool.
I'm out of time, so I'm going to end it there.
I'd be shoring it out with palms sweat. Oh, so true, Sedlo.
Thank you very much for your time.
I would too, my friend.
Please come and find me.
All right, kind of a unique, not only just panels that are helpful for those of you that are into the home cockpit simulation stuff, which I've been in some of these like home cockpits and they can be elaborate. So there's definitely a market for that if you're one of those guys that needs LCD screens for that. But also just the kind of artistic piece of that. You know, take flight simulation and make it an art piece in your house for your local airport or an airport you think is cool, and look at live traffic.
Yeah, you're 100% right. A large one hand on the wall. Agreed. Like that would be super sweet just to have
hardware, software kind of
at like your main airport. Can you imagine hopping into Hoggett's server and boom, you can already see like the main airfield. Yeah, agreed. Niche, but really cool. Yeah, I'm with you though. I think the tablet would be the route I would have gone, just for limiting the hardware costs. But it's certainly intriguing.
Doing the on-camera stuff, like this being serious, like it would sort of brings the rest of the room to life. I kind of like it. Yeah.
It's kind of like having a flux capacitor behind you moving around. But
we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
So up next, we're going to have the folks from let's see, what is it? Windwing, I believe.
Oh, buddy.
Just check my notes here. Yes, Windwing is going to be here next. And they are just about
All
set
right.
here.
Get fired up. Here we go.
Going to be displaying in booth 420 this weekend. So be sure to stop by. They are doing some really nice flight sim hardware. And
So D.
we're gonna
Drake
them right now.
from the HOTAS, however you want to say it, Reddit and Discord has been hyping them up. He's been in talks with them, said they're going to have a couple cool things for us today, so I'm pretty excited. Tony used to be on that Discord. Haven't seen him in a while, so good to see him.
All right, perfect. Folks, my name's Tony. I'm the product design consultant for
Hipster flight simmers would dig it. So true.
Today, I would like to thank the management member of the FlightSimExpo. Thank you for this great opportunity so we can stay on the front stage today. I believe this is our first time participating.
Yep, I think it is their first time, which is awesome.
I would like to thank the audience here. You guys helped me a lot during my
yeah, this might be the presentation I'm most excited about, and I have absolutely no idea what they're going to talk about. I know they're going to unveil. I shouldn't say that. I know they're going to unveil like an addition to their new lineup. I can't remember off the top of my head what they're calling that. Like their new budget stuff. They released like a budget sim that's competing against VKB's Gladiator lineup. So I think they're going to release like a civilian flight grip. Yeah, the Ursa Minor, so they'll have the addition to that, like the Airbus grip. But beyond that, I'm hoping we'll see some higher end stuff. Maybe the Taurus 2 throttle.
Companies that we are specializing in the commercial level flight simulators. We have the closed loop loading, the low control feedback systems, OpenGL graphic implementations, flight model researches, and we are doing using the rear aircraft to research the flight models and their the actual aerodynamic numbers that we're using it. So with all those things, we have successfully obtained the
oh man,
FTD.
I never even thought about an F4 lineup. That's interesting.
No, all of those
yeah, because like Virpil already has like an F4-ish grip, right? Their Warbird grip, I guess, is pseudo F4 stick. I don't really like it. I bought it, ended up selling it because I thought the hat switch was not the greatest, but that would be cool, especially for the Wizzos, the backseater.
The accuracy of the hardware and the software at the same time. So as we navigate our business throughout this region, we received numerous requests from our friends, from the flight sim enthusiasts to ask us, is there any possibilities that you guys getting into the hardware market for the flight sim region? So with the sheer volume of requests that we started looking and to provide a full set.
I think one thing I'd like to see Windwing do is maybe do more generic stuff. They're really, really good at the kind of replica gear. But I like, for example, like their Orion throttle base. I kind of like how they went generic, like realistic replica grip, but generic base. So I'm kind of be curious what they could do if they lean more into that generic standpoint. Like what would a hybrid generic Windwing throttle grip look like? That'd be kind of interesting.
To do something that's really great and with a lower cost. So this is
Windwing has a 172 yoke that's just a desktop model. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I didn't know they had such a background in the civilian side, so that's kind of interesting.
Can tell that's an F-18 seat over there.
It's kind of impressive how just in a couple of years they've built this whole product lineup, right? You can do a whole Windwing cockpit and like almost have a full replica of everything you need. It's really, really cool.
Training level flight experience at home often face unrealistic high prices, right? Sometimes even they say it's a competitive price. I totally get it. Yeah, it's somewhat higher than what we can afford. So, not just about the price, also the complexities of the project. Let's say I'm buying a bunch of the hardware.
Wonder if this is like their intro to the Ursa Minor product line. Like, we hear you, the gear's expensive. This is kind of where we're putting some efforts upcoming, make the price point a little cheaper, which is great, right? Get more people in.
Simulation hardware close to training level while maintaining an acceptable profit margin, keep us competitive with other companies. And we have the answer for you.
Looking at you, VKB.
Oh, I'm sorry, the audio have problems. Oh, it's not.
Oh, there we go. No, come back. There we go. Yeah, I've been really happy with all my WinWing gear. Their customer service leaves a lot to be desired, but as long as your hardware works out of the box, you got nothing to complain about. It's really, really good stuff. I'll take that back. The MFD, I wish the buttons had a tactile feedback. They're kind of mushy. I don't like that. So, yes, they do have great product videos. I completely agree, Sedlo. I love the way like they just kind of show that assembly all coming together.
Is that cool?
Yeah. The hype videos.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, that's a real cool video. So that's probably this is my third time seeing it. So yeah. All right. So let's go. Let's get back down to the business. And we believe our product has brought our customer from virtual skies into the realities. As you can see, with the support of a vast team of commercial flight simulator.
Oh, no kidding? That's awesome.
Manufacturing lines.
Oh, I love that you have that logo on there still.
We're excited today.
What do you think of those pedals? Do you like the WinWing setup? I got the Thrustmasters, the TPRs, but I haven't put any of the damper on yet. I need to do that. I hear good things about the WinWing. I just hear they're a little tough to actuate, maybe, or they require a lot of force, but other than that, they're pretty good.
Force feedback.
Ooh.
Now, for the product that we'll bring next.
It is the year of force feedback. We're just calling it that.
This is our Airbus product line for the EFS left side and the right side. My next click will reveal the price. So let's see if that's really competitive. How about that?
Damn. All right. That is just not for me at all, but like that price point for what you're getting there looks really solid.
Right.
Ooh.
I will get back to the CDUs.
Okay. Now this is transferable, right? Like I know it's not a 1-1 replica, but
Let's see.
A10 CDU. Okay. If that includes the display, I'm in.
And sure, we got more.
I can use that for the CH-47, A10, Apache. Oh, dude. That price was legit. All right, my cat's excited too, so I apologize if you hear him screaming. Yeah, man, CDU would be great.
We'll do that at our booth for sure.
Even this is kind of interesting.
So.
Yeah, but okay. I didn't recognize it. Boeing, yeah.
That's the cockpit.
Man, okay.
Right there. And we got more stuff coming in by 2025. Now, we're not just going to forget about the Boeing fleet.
See, some of this stuff
I'm a Boeing pilot,
is really interesting in terms of like, even though it's not replica gear, you can do a lot with this in DCS, right? So it's kind of, or you know, and these price points, man, are legit.
Now, wait a minute. There's a thing here. It says start from 129.95. So, meaning there's one higher product on it.
Uh-oh, Tony.
So for anybody familiarized with the Boeing MCP, now there's one switch on the panel that has been electronically connected to the auto throttles.
It's an F-16 Dauber switch. They just threw it in there to make us happy.
Once you click the auto throttle disconnect button on the throttle lever, that one switch gonna kick off. Now, for the higher version for this one, I mean the more expensive version on that one, we are able to simulate that function. But with the price of that one, it's not yet to be determined. But it starts from 195.95 right here. So, if it's left and right side for the Boeing, how about that?
You know, I didn't expect WinWing to go so hard after the civilian market, but man, they are
as we're showing the
releasing a ton of products. That's awesome. Good for those folks.
every one of you. So we have the demonstration team set up, the hardware things has been set up as we speak, and we do invite you. Come out, talk to us, check the things out. Oh, 7 threes. There you go.
Yeah, see, I got to screenshot this. Apologies for freezing this.
Yeah,
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, this says never dead out of date. So yeah, we're gonna fix that problem soon. So that copy of 7.3. There's more stuff coming in 2025 for sure. Same as our Airbus fleet.
That's an interesting observation there, Sedlow. FAA approval pending.
Ever since our
Very,
launch
very
of the
good
first
point.
airline product, the
Ooh, okay, here we go.
Airbus,
Military stuff
combat
now.
simulation users have a worry about that we're no longer supporting or a combat simulation product line. That we have to change our focus. No, we don't just give up our product line. We just got better. So, here's what we're preparing for you for the F-18 joystick version 2. Now, it has a exclusive enhanced immersion experience, which means it has a vibration motor inside the joystick. And we have developed a model which will correspond your actual flight conditions, in the simulation, in the simulator, in the DCS, or in other games, that will give you a vibration feedback, which you can feel. You lower the landing gears, raise the landing gears, weapon deployment, your takeoffs and landings, all the touchdowns. And yeah, it feels great. I do invite you to come check us out. We do have one set up over the booth that you can actually feel the vibrations.
So they took the haptic feedback that they got in the F-15 throttle grip and the F-16 joystick grip and moved it over to the 18. That's interesting. Not a buy for me, but that's appealing probably to some people.
We have a fully adapted all the DCS now, and we're working with we're working on the Microsoft 2020, and it's supposed to be finished by today, so June 24th. Okay. And the finalization day for the war thunder is going to be on September 9th. So within this year, the majority of the simulations, whether it's airplane simulations or space simulations, that will be all adapted with our vibration models. This is one of our new product this year.
Yeah, I think this product line is a really interesting one from them. Competing head-to-head with VKB. I think that competition's great, so hopefully it'll push both of them to come up with new and interesting additions to their lineup.
Stick, so we separate them.
Yep, agreed, Sedlow. I don't need to make a change out that F-16 grip, but it's nice if you're an F-18 diehard, I suppose.
Give the pilot two choices. Now, they might choose right, they might choose wrong the first time, but they'll choose right second time, for sure. That's a price.
I mean, with that base too, $83. That's not bad.
So, as we're coming towards the end of the presentation, I want to talk about another.
Yeah, exactly. Options always better.
We've always tried to make your home simulation experience into the realities, right?
I can't remember if there's like a trigger on that, but if there is, that's an interesting. Is that like a possible T-16,000 killer?
Force feedback technology was introduced into
the
joystick. This has been done by the Microsoft.
Force feedback.
It's been 27 years. I know, I was a baby at that time. But I still have one of my collections of Microsoft force feedback with me at my home. I like Iron Man's dad, Howard Stark says, I'm limited by the technology of my time. Now, even today, the force feedback systems on a home cockpit still wasn't cheap. It wasn't easy, and it's extremely hard to get it calibrated accurately. Now, I believe we're no longer limited by our time and by our technologies. Here I'm presenting to you Cybertar's force feedback joysticks. It has a FAR Part 60 Level 5 joystick control loading force feedback systems. Now, simulation platforms and add-ons development only needs to provide us the usual data, which means just a user interface. And we have the force feedback model. Now, that's the conclusion of our presentation for today.
Okay, I'm like holding my breath to see where we go from there. I was like, and the price is, and the release date
And I believe
is.
our relationship has just started.
Okay, so in development is how we take that.
Like President Reagan
It does
used to
look
say,
chunky.
trust,
Yes,
but
that
verify.
does look chunky.
So I think this is a brilliant phrase. Now we have to show you a lot of stuff, but in the end, the product has to speak for itself. So we invite you today to come over to our booth today or tomorrow in this.
Yeah, I hope a lot of these products will be at the expo, and we can hear some of the people who are already there, like Stormbirds, Aviation Plus, Drake himself talk about it. I'd like to get some hands-on impressions from those folks who are there.
And we hope and we'll love to meet you in person. Come talk to us, and you have a great experience over here. My name's Tony. Thank you for your time.
All right, yeah, not bad, not bad. Clap, clap, clap. I was really hoping we'd see that version 2 of the Taurus throttle, but you know, I'll take what we got.
For all those products, I think speaks far more volumes than our reactions here on stage. I think that was awesome. So in order to save some time here, because we need to catch up a little bit, we're going to stifle our reactions.
Oh yeah, good point, Settle. Belgiota, of course. He's probably there as well. I needed to make a list of everybody who's there, so I need to know who to check out later tonight.
Please turn your attentions to the screens.
Hello everybody, and welcome to this video. This is Roberto Capodici. I'm the spokesperson for SimFly, and I will let you know and I will show you what SimFly is all about. So let's start saying that SimFly enhances the realism in flight simulators.
SimFly. I do not know what this is.
With the virtual economy. So when you are there on your flight simulator, you are a pilot, we believe you should earn something that you earn only if you fly and you work for flying.
I'm pulling it up right now on my browser over here, simfly.io.
And every time somebody uses your airplane, or everybody sometimes lands or take off from your airport. We merge all a simulated economy that is more than simulated, it becomes even real, to the world of sims. You can obtain your pilot's license, purchase an aircraft, all and manage your airport.
Huh.
Every activity.
Okay, so it introduces like an in-game economy to Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's kind of interesting.
Doing your regular flight with your friends, you just need to go there, activate SimFly, start the flight, and then go and enjoy the flight with your friends.
See, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Adding missions, adding like some kind of immersion or a gamification to these flight sims like Microsoft Flight Sim. That's what I've been missing. That's why I don't really check them out. And I know 2024 is going to fix some of that, but this kind of stuff's cool too. The community developed stuff.
To other users that want to take a shortcut and be there faster. So you can monetize your flight time thanks to SimFly. SimFly is a fly and earn system that leads to real rewards. There is a marketplace. You can use your PAX token to go in the marketplace and shop for more assets. You can customize, buy, sell pilot license, aircraft, and there are over 40,600 faithfully reproduced real airports. This is a unique investment opportunity in flight simulation. There is a dynamic marketplace for all the asset management. It's a revolutionary flight simulation project. You can transform your virtual mission interactions and extend the simulation from just flying an airplane to be also part of a career and a full economy around aviation. It's important to say that it's an ethical.
All right, so we'll catch you later. Thanks for stopping in, man. It was good chatting with you.
Ethical because the value of the token that is produced and is minted is given by pilots flying airplanes. So not
I don't know. This, I mean, interesting concept. I don't really know what we're getting at in here in terms of like, does this cost the user money or is this all virtual? But certainly interesting.
So it's an exclusivity to those that know how to follow the correct rules. And better you fly, more you earn. You have a bad pitch angle in landing, you lose your earnings. So there is all an analysis on how.
Okay, that's kind of cool. Like again, real world or impacting the game world, right? Beyond just I'm flying somewhere, there's actually some impact of how well I fly, where I'm going, what I'm doing. That stuff's kind of cool.
And a Web3 expert, which is me. We have a team of developer, designer, marketing expert, people designing UX, UI, and preparing an interface that is simply excellent. I suggest to go to simfly.io and see with your own eyes what I'm talking about. It is an amazing place for simmers to go and also create community, but interact in a very powerful way with the real economy around aviation. There is a comprehensive wiki. We have regular newsletters, Discord servers, a YouTube channel that brings all the updates every week on the evolution of SimFly. Pilots, airplanes, and airports earn experience point based on the usage. So there is a point that you do based on the amount of time you fly, the amount of flight that an airplane does if it's yours, and an airport does. And this experience point allow you to upgrade the level of your
Thank goodness we don't have experience points based on my DCS flying. I'd probably be in the negative every time I got a new aircraft. I'd be like, and crash, 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 shot down, crash. I'd never climb out of the negative column.
And manage assets, but you can also sell your packs to other users for actual money.
I'd get stuck flying the free P-51 trainer because I could never work my way up to an actual aircraft in DCS.
Without owning a license. So it's free. There is no money to pay to play.
Okay, that's cool.
Create an account.
See, these kind of, I mean, credit to the, I don't know how they're making their money off something like this, but it's clear they put on a lot of time and effort, so it's cool when they offer that stuff for free. This is why I love the flight sim community. Just all these creative people coming up with ways to give back to the community and make it a better place. That's really cool to see.
Get one now, get one soon as you get back home, because they gonna be more expensive soon. So we are still in the launching time, so don't lose the opportunity.
Looks like we got a few other viewers. Welcome to everybody that's joined us since we got started. So far, we've seen some pretty cool things. We've seen FlightSim.com announce they're doing a force feedback base and joystick grip, as well as force feedback pedals. WinWing just announced several new additions to their civilian flight sim lineup and a new force feedback base. So we've already got some cool stuff on the military flight sim side of the house. We still supposedly have Micro Pros coming. We still have Slytherin Games coming and Combat Pilots. So hopefully we'll have some more interesting stuff as the night goes along. So we're just here hanging out, watching the good stuff coming our way out of Vegas.
Trips, airport, or you start purchasing an airport that is very big like Dubai or London. It's gonna be anywhere level 1, and more traffic it generates, higher the level it is, more packs generates for you to be able to then expand, integrate, upgrade, and do many more things in SimFly. SimFly is based on a map, which is a very detailed real-world representation with all the airport the SimFly covers, which are those covered by most flight simulators. And there you can see all the traffic generated in SimFly and also in other systems. There are different missions that you can do. The test pilot is the basic mission. You don't need a license to do that. Then there is the restricted flight, the scheduled flight, the pilot day, the tour mission, and in the future there is going to be an editor for people to create their own specific mission and invite others to participate in it and see if they comply to the rules of your custom mission. There are detailed reports.
It's kind of tough in these sections. I don't have a whole lot to add because I just don't have a lot of experience with Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it's cool to see what they're getting. We've seen some already really cool additions to that game today so far.
and there is all the data that you wanted to know about your flight situation. There is also a leaderboard with the player rankings based on how many.
I wish we could get this kind of detailed logging in DCS though, right? Like if you hopped on a multiplayer server or even a logbook that could actually track your flights in single player, multiplayer, how far you've flown, all the weapons you've dropped, what's killed you, what you've killed, stuff like that. That's a feature I'd love to see get fleshed out at some point. But
once you finish your flight and you press end flight, all the data of your flight are sent to the AI. The AI is going to do an elaboration and come back with an analysis of your flight. So you can also see all the past flight and also see all the analysis done. And you can share with friends in social media the flight that you have done with your score to show that you had the best pitch landing or the best management of the fuel, etc., etc. There is graphs that you can see, and also you can rebuild the route that you have done with the airplane in the map, seeing the altitude and seeing from what airport to what airport you've been flying. The system is compatible with Wassim, Eval, Microsoft Flight Simulators, and other simulators like X-Plane and Prepare 3D. We are planning to build a full academy, multi-language videos and tutorials for people that want to learn to fly different kind of airplane and accommodate virtual airlines as well in SimFly. New mission and premium license subscription are going to be available soon as well. And there is a promo offer. There is a discount on all the sets valid for a very short time. So you can use the coupon code that you see on the screen now and use it to buy at the discounted price your license, your favorite airplane, and your favorite airport, unless somebody else already bought it before you. So rush up in simfly.io, get at the discounted price your asset, get your account, register in our Discord server, follow the newsletter, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching, and
the good old like, comment, subscribe.
And get more.
Well, that's interesting.
All right, SimFly. What do we think?
Yeah, we all know that flight simulation is a very serious hobby. It's very real. It's a simulation. It's not a game. But I think for those people who are motivated and interested in, the gamified elements, so sort of an in-game economy.
Ooh, the good old, is it a simulation or is it a game argument?
This can kind of add that gamified element to it. And if that's what you want, then I think they've done a great job of that.
It's always about, the more immersive and more purpose you can get in flight simulation, the more you're going to do it. So yeah,
I agree with that. I'm bring on, in my opinion, especially on the flight civilian side, bring on that gamification. That's what would keep me coming back.
Next up, we have a combat pilot.
Here we go.
They are a long time
Jason Williams in combat pilot. So this can be the World War II Pacific Theater based sim coming our way.
Jason Williams was at the first FlightSimExpo back in 2018. And we are now welcoming him to the stage, so take it away.
Thank you. Hope you all can hear me okay. First of all, I want to say welcome to FlightSimExpo 2024.
So excited their team decided to come to the Expo.
Welcome, and I look forward to meeting you all this weekend out on the show floor. Before I continue, I want to point out that some of our teammates couldn't be here today. I want to say a very big thank you to Fritz and Fred and Tomas and John and Stefan and Uncle and Chris and Carl, Dakota and Chase. We would not be here today without your very hard work over the past year. So thank you very much, guys. Now on to the presentation. It's been a long time since there's been a new original hardcore World War II flight sim franchise. It's been over 20 years.
Way too long.
And we're the first comprehensive Pacific Theater combat flight sim also in 20 plus years. We're not a variant of an existing product or engine, and we're not a rehash of an old established IP. We're going to be the first hardcore combat flight simulator utilizing the Unreal Engine 5 Plus. In other words, our project has no baggage, there's no confusion on who we are, and there are no limits to what we want to do.
Some not so subtle shots at other organizations, but
between Carlos and Barbed Wire Studios and myself, Sky Street Productions. Barbed Wire Studios has formed a subsidiary called Entropy Aero that will be responsible for the development of Combat Pilot. In our first year, we secured funding for our first year of operation. We recruited a small but dedicated team to the cause, and we began work on our prototype, which is what you will see at our booth number 416 on the show floor. So we've spent about a little over 12 months actually working on the project full time, and you'll see the fruits of that labor at our booth.
Oh, show it now,
I'll turn it over
man.
to Carlos to give you a little more of a technical side of things.
All right, hello everybody. I'm Carlos Flores. I'm the CEO of Barbed Wire, and I currently oversee the technical aspect of Entropy Aero. And here's a brief history of time of 2023. We've worked on 4 main pillars, them being technology, how can we push our product, implementing everything together into a cohesive product.
You know, they mentioned they have the 12 months of funding. I wonder where they're at now with funding. Like, is the whole development cycle secure, or are they still on the fence? I would think they're secure to release. Yeah, I agree with you, Sharp. Several years, unfortunately. But hey, at least we know it's happening, so that's great.
No more problems spotting aircraft in the sky as they switch LODs. From implementation, we're still working on the game mechanics, plotting the damage model, developing our geospatial solution, but we do have a tool set that we are using to derive the flight mechanics of those airplanes which are really hard to find information about, like the Japanese. This is a really powerful tool set that we are very proud to have. When it comes to content and peripheral support, we do have Tracker on our hubs, but we also have support for Track IR, and we're working on VR and motion support and all the goodies. For content, we have high-definition models, state-of-the-art, and we're working on partnerships to be able to develop more content in the future. Research, translations, beta testing, the full Monty, so to speak. For PR and marketing, we do have a Discord server.
I think they've done a really good job of communicating with the community so far. I know it's really early stages. There hasn't been much of the show, but just having a consistent cadence of dev diaries has been really nice to see from that team. Like, about like once a month, once every 2 months, just checking in to let us know they're alive and what the progress they're making. It's good.
And in order to make it a bit clear, we're going to identify 3 main challenges that we plan to surmount. The first one is having a huge amount of different aircraft in the sky to a high degree of fidelity. It's 2024, making detailed content takes a lot of time and money. The second challenge is keeping up with technology. This thing's going to have a shelf life of 20 plus years. How can it be relevant in 2040? And the third challenge is how to provide a simulation that is true to history and that people can rally behind and say, this is a realistic flight sim. In order to tackle these challenges, firstly, for the first challenge, we do have a modular development of theaters and cohesive aircraft to go with it that Jason will give a little bit of insight about later. We do plan to collaborate for content development with talented partners, and we do have a very long planning to be able to make into fruition all of our goals. For the second challenge,
the content's interesting, but the inner PowerPoint nerd in me is being driven crazy by some of the formatting. It's like that bullet point is not on the background.
And we have
the spacing at the top.
PBR, advanced engineering tools, so that any talented content creator can be onboarded with state-of-the-art technology and they will feel right at home. For the third challenge, this is a product for the community, by the community. I've been flying flight sim since I was 4 years old, and so has Jason. We have a transparent development where people can help build our product, be the best version of it that we can, and we do have a very simple approach to business. Our investor and our hardworking people always put the product and customer first. And with this mindset, we can make sure that we're not going to release something that we can't be proud of. We want to make sure that Combat Pilot is that IP that people can be happy about, a Western product of quality and a very long future ahead. Talking about the future, now I'm going to pass it on to Jason, who's going to talk about the plans for next year and onward.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Carlos? First, I want to say some of our slides have been truncated somehow. I think something happened to the format.
Okay. He heard me. He's assuaging my concerns.
We've been working at it for a little over a year. Now, in our second year, we have some very obvious goals. One, we need to increase our budget and expand the team. We're going to continue to refine our fundamentals such as physics, flight modeling, systems modeling, and of course the geospatial for you to fly over. And we're going to work on some new areas such as the AI, the damage model, our weapons, and our visual effects. And we'll start to work on our multiplayer, and of course we're going to offer VR support just as soon as we can, which is not very far out. We're of course going to build more aircraft and more ships, and we're going to work on our improving our graphical user interface and a launcher to help manage installs of the product. And of course, when the product matures a little bit more, we're going to have rigorous testing with alpha and beta testers in the near future. So what are our plans beyond the second year?
Yeah,
Well,
the big question.
Combat Pilot's going to be released as a franchise with many different phases of development, where each milestone brings something new until the product is quote unquote, feature complete.
Interesting.
Our first theater of combat
I don't think I
is
knew
gonna be
that.
the Battle of Midway, and we're using the Battle of Midway as our proof of concept and our playground for.
I wonder if this is similar to the IL-2 development cycle, right? Like Battle of Normandy, Battle of Stalingrad, all that stuff.
Community development and improve our web properties that some of you may have already seen. They're a little rudimentary at the moment. On the development side, we're also going to find, as Carlos mentioned, qualified content partners to make important aircraft and ships. And in the not too distant future, we're going to launch a Patreon and merchandise operation to help, because a lot of people have contacted me about somehow contributing to the bankroll of Combat Pilot. So we're going to give you an opportunity to do that if you're so inclined.
Star Citizen,
And,
World War II style.
Now that we have Midway established and we're working on a prototype, we're already planning for years down the line. So our first large-scale theater outside of Battle of Midway will be the Solomons.
I wondered.
If you're a fan
Yep.
of Guadalcanal,
There we go.
we're going to go there. And now for a short
That's cool.
video of our demo. Hopefully it works.
Here we go. This is what I've been really excited for. This should be interesting.
All right. There you go.
I appreciate them just showing these initial renders, though, right? Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just show me where the game's at. What do you have cooking right now? It's really nice to see it in action. This is still impressive that they've even gotten this off the ground in 12 months. Especially, I think, because the aim is to have this flyable at the Expo, so anybody there on the show floor can go over and actually sit in the cockpit and fly one of these things. But yeah, as you said, Sharp, I think this is certainly a ways off. But
Thank you very much, everybody.
I appreciate, again, props to them for showing up. That's great.
All right. Thanks, guys. So at the last break, we're not taking a break right now, don't get excited. The last break, I was talking with a few people, and one of them even mentioned it's time for us to have a combat flight simulator, kind of like we had, Microsoft had combat flight simulator years ago. That was kind of old school stuff like this, and I did not know this was happening. So this is really cool to fill that spot. So
that's exactly where I was going with it. It's been a while since we've had especially a good Warbird combat simulator. You know, we have a lot of modern jets, modern combat, things like that. DCS World, and still offers both sides of it. But yeah, dedicated Warbird, it got my attention.
I want to be like, have you tried IL-2? It's out there.
So far in a year.
Take a look.
Say that's the first year of development. What's on deck for the second year? That's pretty incredible.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it's not a brand new series, obviously, in that sense, but it's still out there. Still a great title.
Simulation. I know a lot of us are into airliners and GA and stuff like that, and shooting at other planes isn't necessarily something you're always thinking about, but it can bring a whole new fun aspect. And
so funny to hear that perspective, because I'm the exact opposite, where I'm like, That's all only
Next
kind of
up,
flying I
we're gonna
like to do.
have,
So
this-
to
I'm
to
actually
just
very
just
curious
fly
about this one
around
because I don't know,
in a normal environment
what this
is
company does.
something I
Actually,
don't
there's
ever
no
think about
information
doing.
here for me other than they're called
That's the fun part of the
Slytherin.
hobby, though. Everybody's got their own interests.
My assumption is it's Harry Potter related, but I don't think that's actually what it is. So they're finishing up, getting it ready. Guys, just let me know as soon as you're all set to go. Real quick though, while we're stalling here, or are you guys good? We good?
I'm good.
Okay.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is John Coughlin. I am representing Slytherin Games.
John, Scramble Battle Britain. John's a great guy. He's reached out to me a couple times to talk about his game. Really impressed by what the team's put together so far. If you haven't checked out the demo, you can still get it on Steam.
Slytherin typically makes a lot of strategy games, so this is our first opening into the flight simulation space. I'm just curious because we don't have a ton of marketing data on this yet. Can anybody who has heard of Scramble raise your hands for me? This is a small sample size, so this is excellent. This is why I wanted to come here. I am super excited to be here at FlightSimExpo because this is a very special event to me. My clicker might not work. Go ahead. Or maybe we're not. There we go. There we go. In 2019, I went down to Orlando and showed a very tiny game called Roger Meatball at the Flight Simulation Expo, and it was
Roger Meatball is a really cool indie title too. If you haven't checked it out, it's free. You can download it.
Away from this event with a couple friends in particular who have remained lifelong friends. We talk every single day. I now have a big pool of friends who are all here coming to this event together. This has been, the flight simulation community in general has been important to me. This event has been incredibly important to me, both personally and for my career. So for that, I want to thank Evan, wherever he is, and the rest of the flight simulation, or the FlightSimExpo staff, because they put on a really fantastic thing. And I encourage all of you, especially the people who are here for the first time, look around while you're here, meet some people, shake some hands, and build some memories, because I promise it's going to be worth it. So Scramble is a tactical dogfighting video game. It's a turn-based game. So you set up a turn for all of the airplanes that you pilot. You're actually piloting airplanes. You set up maneuvers for those airplanes, and you hit simulate, and then it runs through about 2.5 seconds of simulation, and there's a full physics simulation underneath the game. There is damage modeling. There is pilot physiology. Your pilots can black out, they can die. And in Scramble, what we are attempting to do is to take combat flight simulation, which is like a reflex-heavy, stressful sort of engagement, and slow it down so that you can really enjoy the tactics. And
Yeah, so if you guys haven't checked this out, think like XCOM, but meets flight sims. It's really, really cool. It's very unique. I've never played anything quite like it.
And then for analyzing all of your performance. And in a minute here, I'm going to have my friend Sebastian run a live demo of the game. So Sebastian, can you tab out to Scramble? That should be it. And yeah, I guess Sebastian is probably going to have to play on a different display. So Sebastian, can you go into the tactical mode and just take a look at the sky? So Sebastian and I started up kind of mid-match because we wanted to make sure that there was some compelling action going on here. And so in Scramble, at any point, you can pop out and you can view the airspace as this sort of 3D diorama. Sebastian, could you go into review mode real quick? So when he goes into review mode, and then you can go into review mode, you can loop the action to see what your previous turn was. Sebastian, can you hit that review button?
Yeah, see, I'm an idiot. I've been playing this demo, and I didn't even know you could do that. I just have been using the planning mode and just turn by turn.
Two things. It allows you to analyze your tactics, analyze your performance, try to figure out what your enemies are doing, but it also gives you a ton of flexibility to capture some great screenshots, capture some video. We have a full suite of cinematic tools that should allow you to...
Yeah, as you can see, it actually models G-forces, so your pilots can black out if you're trying to pull too tight of turns and put too many G-forces on the aircraft. It's pretty cool in terms of the physics they're modeling.
Run a turn here, and I think he's probably in a pretty good position, so you can go ahead and advance. And so right there, Sebastian just got a bunch of hits on the rear of the enemy. You can see that Sebastian has that plane targeted, and down on the bottom of the aircraft silhouettes on the UI, down on the sides, when a part gets damaged into like a critical state, it'll start to flash. And then if you overstress those parts, they will rip off, they will totally change the flight dynamics of the airplanes. All of the different airplanes that we have custom flight modeling inside of them, and we're not necessarily trying to match precisely the numbers that a specific like mark of Spitfire is going to output, but we are trying to match the trade-offs in between all of our aircraft. So a Spitfire is going to be able to turn like crazy. A 109 is going to dive really fast. It's going to roll really fast. A Hurricane is going to turn tightly at a lower speed. It's going to be a really stable gun platform. This first iteration of Scramble, which is a
It's
brand
way easier to play with controller, by the way. I made the mistake of trying with mouse and keyboard. Controller just is so much more natural,
free demo
if you have one.
on Steam right now. It launched on June 10th for Steam Next Fest. And so you could go to Steam at the moment, you could wishlist the game, you could download the demo if you brought a computer along with you, or when you get home, and you can play it right now. This is a vertical slice of the game that we have on this demo. And so it's going to allow you to play a couple training missions just to get familiar with the mechanics. It's going to also give you a bunch of sort of preset missions that we've made for you. But then we also have just this instant action mission randomizer. So you can go in and throw yourself in like a 2v6 dogfight. You can give yourself a higher number, but really the bread and butter of Scramble at the moment is this instant action, because every single time you play, you can see that while this is a turn-based game, and there have been other turn-based dogfighting games, a lot of those games have been sort of like board game based. And so you might be like putting in a set maneuver, like a quarter roll or like a half.
Yeah, so I'm trying not to talk over him, John, because I just think what he's talking about with the game is kind of interesting. This is the first full narration I've heard of this game.
Full control over the control surfaces in his aircraft. And we want to make sure that this game is accessible for people who are super familiar with airplanes and people who are not familiar with airplanes at all. So Scramble is going to control in our default control mode. We have something that we call a turn climb assist. Sebastian pulled too hard and blacked out a pilot right there, which is good. I'm happy that this is exactly what we're demonstrating, because the depth of this game
it's cool.
is the fact that every single time you play, it's going to be different, because it is fully simulation based. And so in our default control scheme, which is the one that
I think a campaign mode is the most of interest to me, right? Where you could get invested in these pilots and do multiple missions that chain together. You'll lose some pilots, you'll lose some aircraft, but can you guide your squadron through a month of battle per se? Something like that. I think it's interesting. Beyond just the specific dynamics of the game itself, which are also pretty cool.
On your turn axis, it's coupling some of your roll and some of your yaw control, so that basically when people move their sticks around, the airplane is going to move to the right when they press to the right, and it's going to move up and down when they press up and down. And that makes the control scheme pretty much as accessible as something like an Ace Combat game, but when it launches in full, we will have a full 3-axis control scheme that allows you to play with rudder and ailerons and elevators all independently.
Trying to thread that needle, though, of complexity for an audience that wants that full control of the aircraft with someone who just kind of wants to hop in and have fun. From a development standpoint, that's got to be tough.
Hands on throttle and stick. I'm sure that you guys will be able to figure out how to hook up all of that stuff yourselves. It's all going to be independently mappable, so you'll figure it out.
That's interesting.
But it plays fantastic on a gamepad. It also plays great with mouse and keyboard.
John heard me talking crap about mouse and keyboard. It works. It's just gamepad is much easier.
Or almost exclusively with the keyboard. We give you camera and airplane controls available with both of those sets. And eventually, Scramble will launch with a Battle of Britain campaign. It'll have, you will be a squadron manager. You will maintain a squadron of pilots from the beginning to the end of a Battle of Britain campaign. All of your pilots will be unique. They'll all have specific traits that either boost or limit their capabilities in certain dogfighting situations while they're in the sky. They will get fatigued. They will die. We'll have permadeath in there, and so it'll be a pretty big, robust thing. So to close, I'd like to make sure that you guys all know that, oh, I thought that was, is this, no, that's the game. That's the slides. So to close, you can find this game on Steam right now. You can download our demo as early as when you leave this show if you want. You can go, if you go to slitherine.com/scramble, that'll take you straight to our Steam page. So please go check it out, wishlist it, try the demo out. If you are interested in contacting me, if you're a customer, if you're a media person, if anything about this interests you, you can find all of my contact information here. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
That was really good. Again, I mentioned I've checked it out on Steam. I got like maybe an hour and a half in it. It's really cool. Something very different. But I think if you know you're a fan of flight sims, I think I always think most flight sim fans to some degree like strategy because they're so inherently linked. So I think you'll get a kick out of that too.
But a very interesting.
It's a nice palate cleanser, right? Maybe you get home late at night, you don't really want to jump in the cockpit because it's been a long day, but just hopping into the strategy game's nice and easy.
Yeah, definitely right along the same lines of where I was going with that. We have a tool that we use when we do our combat analysis in DCS that looks like they've sort of implemented right into the game, so that was a good call.
Very cool. And I think it's cool that it's so accessible to people who may not know a lot about the planes from the Battle of Britain. Right. They may not have a lot of fancy flight equipment right away, so someone just getting into flight sim and thinks this is interesting can just hop on their mouse and keyboard or their game controller and hop in and give it a try.
Absolutely, absolutely. So with that, guys, we are going to take another approximately 10-minute break. Again, get some water, get hydrated. When we come back, we're going to be hearing from the likes of Navigraph, Fly Inside, Flying Art, Toby, and plenty more. Hope you guys are finding this enjoyable and exciting. I know I am. We'll see you back in 10 minutes.
All right, I think that means a 10-minute break for me too. So I plan to come back at the conclusion of it. So we'll keep the stream running over the break. Should we catch you guys on the flip side, and we'll see what we have left for the final few presentations of the show. So back in a bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The program will begin in 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The program will begin in a few moments.
Going out.
That wasn't the Blackbird video, was it?
It was just a little tough.
That was, yeah, what the heck? Did they mistakenly play it?
We should also get a photo before
Absolutely.
we run away.
And the karaoke bar.
All right, guys, take a seat.
Karaoke in years, but I was,
We are back. We're gonna get started here.
All right, we're back. Maybe Micropose coming up? Who we got?
We have Micropose.
Oh,
the next
boy.
video comes from a company that a lot of you
Here we go.
remember as a hallmark in games and simulation. Seeing that
It
logo
is so
appear in a few
good to
seconds may
have
bring
these
back
guys
some memories,
back.
like an old friend returning home. What is being shown today may be a surprise to some of you, but this old friend wants to expand and be closer to the flight simulation community in more than one way. We hope you enjoy it. Turn your attention to the screens.
Very, very happy to see what they just even came out with the producing a new game that's already lapsed in development. So I'll talk more about that once this is over.
Army 455, traffic southeast, cleared to main runway. Taxi following north perimeter track.
Well, let's get her in the air.
Oh, man, it's just so good to have these guys back. I can't say much more than that. It's been too long. I hope we see that level of fidelity with their upcoming B17 titles they're working on, because that looks really good already for Microsoft Flight Sim.
Man, we've been kind of on a warbird kick the last few presenters, but B17, that looks amazing. Holy goodness. What do you guys think?
Oh, absolutely. The B-17 is probably one of the most iconic aircraft
Is your
of
mic
World
on?
War II. Probably not.
There we go.
There it goes. Hey,
Try it
hi
again.
guys. I'm back. Anyway, the B-17 is probably the most iconic aircraft of World War II, in my opinion. I always have to say that. the YouTube thing kicked in there for a second. But yeah, gorgeous aircraft.
Awesome. I like it. It looks very cool. It looks very cool.
It's interesting
Right,
how
next year we have
just
Navigraph.
decidedly not interested in the military flight sim side of the house. Some of the content creators are. They're like, yep,
I know,
looks
I look at the
great.
charts every time I
No
open my
opinion.
sim, so
It's like when they show a 757 or something, and I'm like, yep, no opinion.
take it away.
Phil and Evan, what a show you're
Well,
putting on.
all right. So that's a little bit of a bummer. I was kind of hoping there would be a full presentation from Micro Pros. So maybe more to come at the booths potentially later. Okay.
And we spent 2 long flights to get here, and the jet lag is just about.
So let me look through the other presenters, because that might be it from the military side of the house.
Stephen O'Connell, we founded this company some 20 odd years ago. We were college buddies at the time, but that's a different story. We're here to do Navigraph Charts feature announcement. Joined on the stage is also Jason. You might know him from our YouTube channel at Navigraph. He works as a technical.
Okay, so its current lineup includes Combat Pilot, Slytherin, Micro Pros. So we got Navigraph. So the final presenters will be Fly Inside, Flying Art, Toby AB, SoFly, and X-Plane. So potentially Toby's the only one that might be of interest in the military flight sim side of the house.
Right.
Checking it out right now.
Can we do a little poll here by just raise of hands? I just want to know how many of you out here who are Navigraph users.
Yeah, I think it'll be just Toby.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for your support. As you know, we are very tightly linked to the community. We have big ears and, believe it or not, small mouth. And we're listening really closely to what you guys want. So please come over to the booth afterwards and tell us exactly what you want for the future. And we will do our best to build it.
Because Fly Inside looks like it's a VR product.
Also in the booth, we have a little surprise for you. As you
Flying
know,
Art
Navigraph has a side gig. We're also
what is Flying Art?
Apparently. Previous shows, we have offered a hot sauce, which some of you still have in your fridges, I believe. In
Flying Art
Houston
could be
last
interesting.
year, we offered a barbecue
We'll
rug
stick around and check that out.
That would be fitting. And this year is no different. We have an apron in our booth that you can get. There's a little effort required on your part, but I'll tell you more once you come and see us, all right? Okay, so when we were in Houston, we showed you weather. We had weather overlays, but that was a year ago, and since then, a lot of things have happened. For instance,
It'd be interesting to see if one of these companies that focuses on like navigation and chart planning would be interested in doing something like this for DCS. I mean, I know there's a lot of third parties that are already doing something similar, like DCS Web Editor and some of the Open Kneeboard and stuff. But
we also listened to you guys. You needed the flight plan inside of Navigraph charts. So now the SimBrief OFP is viewable inside of charts. ATIS is in there. And, well, we're all armchair tourists, aren't we? So we want to fly around and say, hey, I can see my house from here. And that's what we use satellite maps for. There's another base layer in Navigraph charts that you might be interested in as well. There's another type of charts in there, the FAA sectionals. I hope you get good use of those. And backed by popular demand, I would say, is the ability to scribble on your charts. You can do that with a stylus or with your fingers. Here's an interesting one. For all those VFR pilots out there, we have an improved land cover or a classification of land. So when you're following a say, a field or a pasture, or it borders to a forest, then it's much easier to make that mapping between the VFR chart and, it's much easier to make that mapping from the simulator over to the charts. That's what I wanted to say. Significant weather is also on here, and here you also see a little glance of something that we released just a few days ago. It's the ability to put up to 3 different weather layers simultaneously on the charts, so that you can see, here's the Doppler radar and the wind barbs along with significant weather. Derek at SimBrief, he coded up a thing which is very useful. You can now calculate 2 or more different routes and then compare which one you want. That's a nice one. And I hope you haven't missed the performance calculator. And then, of course, to all the developers out there, you know that we have APIs and we have a pretty crafty development department as well, and we love to work with you. So if you want to have Navigraph charts in your add-on aircraft, or if you want to use our AMDB data, for instance, or what might...
This kind of stuff's the coolest thing, though. Like third parties working with third parties, make their products better, all in the framework of a single game. That's cool.
So,
community helping the community.
For a feature release, and Stephen here will be performing a technical demo. Jason and I will have a little chat about the significance of this particular feature, and the feature is, drum roll,
We've been getting these random cuts throughout the show where they're like, a video kicks off, and then we cut to a random PowerPoint slide. Kind of funny. The joys of doing it all live. That's cool. The ground movement feature, that's pretty sweet. Especially if you could have other aircraft on there simultaneously, like they just teased. Setlo and I were talking about this earlier. Having some of the voiceover technology that they debuted earlier work with DCS, the stuff that they're doing with Microsoft Flight Sim and the AI voices, super cool.
All right, so the feature is traffic, online traffic, Navigraph traffic, and also ATC sectors, ATC control. This is the top-rated feature request in our wish list, and it's being asked for by you guys for many years, and we're very happy to be able to present this coming feature today. Now, I say coming because it's not released yet. It's currently in active development. We're still taking feedback, so if you want to try this out yourself, you can come to our booth. We will have a live demo there as well, and we'll be happy to talk to you about this and how we can develop this. I'll attempt now to do a technical demo. This is live with...
Wonder if we could put Eagle Dynamics on stage, and they were like, this is the #1 feature on the wish list. I wonder what that would be. I mean, I guess like Vulcan, ATC, or AI in general. But, you know, like if you could narrow it down a specific feature, I wonder what would actually rank #1 of the most requested feature.
First thing that will happen is that we will show all the Navigraph pilots currently flying in real time. Now, Navigraph is not an ATC network. Navigraph is, you can call it a community of pilots and friends, right? Currently, we're tracking between 2,000 and 10,000 users simultaneously in real time.
See, that's crazy. Like, that's just Navigraph owners. Like, you know, I just mean in the context of comparing that to like how many DCS players are currently flying on a multiplayer server. Just goes to show you the scope difference of these communities.
You can, of course, interact with this. So let's click some random guy here. So we see this is a person flying 240 knots or so, 452 knots ground speed. You can see the flight path. This is still work in development, so we're going to flesh out the information you get about pilots. So this is currently what we're sort of working on, and we'll be happy to talk about this in our booth with you guys, how we can develop this sort of Navigraph network further. Let's leave Navigraph for now and check out VATSIM. So currently we're tracking 800 or so pilots flying on VATSIM, again in real time. 1 second refresh rate on all these pilots. So you can track anyone flying on VATSIM in real time. And for this, we have been working closely with VATSIM. I would like to thank Tim Barber, VATSIM president, and his team, especially Richard and Jacob, who have been working very closely with our...
Yeah, that stuff is just really cool. That integration across multiple different products, third-party teams coming together.
In the same way. You got this information screen down here, and we're going to flesh out all the information you get from...
It'd be cool if you could do this with DCS though, right? See like one map, but then every player, no matter single or multiplayer, if they were using this add-on, you could see where they were, what they were flying.
Yeah, real-time refresh.
It'd be interesting just to see what map is the most popular. I would assume everybody's on Georgia, you know, well, the most prevalent one, I should say, or the Caucasus. Then maybe Syria after that, but it'd just be kind of interesting. See the 7 people, including me, down on the South Atlantic map. Alone and unafraid.
We can enable this button here to see all the controlled airspaces currently.
That's pretty cool.
And again, everything is interactive here, so you get who's in control. Jordan here is controlling Salt Lake City currently since 24 minutes.
Oops, sorry about that.
That's his frequency.
That's what happens when I fail at using my 2 monitors correctly.
All right, so what you can also do is all these flight paths are in 3D, so you can check also the altitude all the aircraft are flying to see basically where they're coming from. You can see their approach, their descent, and we're also planning to show where they're actually going. All right, so this is the feature. Again, it's not released. There are still quite a lot of things that we're going to be working on here in the next coming months, and we'll be very happy to talk to you guys about what you think is important. We have already done so to build this, but the devil is in the details. So please come by our booth and check it out, and we're happy to talk to you. With this demo, I'm going to hand it back over to Magnus, and you can talk about this feature and why it's important.
Well, why it's important, what do you think, Jason? Why will people actually appreciate this and use it?
Yeah. Well, how many of you have flown on a VATSIM event before? Show of hands. It's a lot, right? The thing about when we're flying an event and we're going into an airspace, and we might pull up, I'm going to throw Jacksonville. You might throw Jacksonville up, and there's 15 Jacksonville centers, right? And we don't know which one to pick. And then you call a frequency in the first one, and they go, that's wrong frequency. Contact this one. With this, we're going to be able to see the sectors broken in. It's a work in progress, but that's going to happen. So that's huge for us as pilots and ATC. It saves us time. Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. We would love for you guys to come to the booth and show us what is the last 5–10% that you want to add to this, or 100 for that matter, we don't care.
See, that's the thing too, right? You show up as a dev or third party. This is such a unique opportunity to interact with your customer base. And I was talking on Reddit or Hoggit earlier this week about how I wish Eagle Dynamics would show up, or some other developers besides just the Combat Pilot team. This is such a unique opportunity to meet your customers where they are. And if I know some people were like, well, it's mostly civilian oriented, and it sure is. But if you don't go to these events and develop these connections and invest in the community and tell them, hey, we're going to be there. We went this year. We'll be back next year. It's hard to grow that stuff. And I think sometimes face-to-face experiences would go a lot further than the online discourse, which is not always the healthiest,
Of course, it's important
But
to see
who am I? I don't have to spend the money, so it's a lot easier for me to say that, and rather than a CEO or something like that.
And also the change in airspeed, the change in altitude is important. So this is something we're going to add, probably as a little widget appearing at the bottom of the screen for any aircraft that you click. That's one example. We have many ideas, and we're happy to hear your feedback again about other ideas.
Right, and also I think people are curious. Could you mention something about the technical challenges that were needed to overcome to achieve something like this?
Well, the main challenge has been getting this real-time connection be as smooth as possible, both for our infrastructure, but also for the client. We don't want to bog down the end user's computer too much. So even though we're displaying about 10,000 aircraft moving in real time here, we have really tried to optimize this to have as little footprint as possible, which we've managed to achieve now. So that's been one of the biggest challenges.
I don't know if it's me or who it is, but Jason here would be really happy to take some of the questions from the floor.
You want to pick him?
I want to pick? All right. How about this gentleman over here?
Hey, at least someone stepped up and asked a question. It wasn't that awkward thing like, any questions? No one? Someone's got to have a question, right? You ever been in those situations? It's just so awkward.
Yes. So the gentleman is asking about in the sectors, there's a vertical structure as well. Can we speak to this?
It's something we're planning to add. We're investigating exactly how much we can get out of the different APIs that we're working with, but that's absolutely the goal, yes.
Front row over here.
On the FlightSim stuff, when you click on the sector, will it show, the actual frequencies and everything of every center and ground and
Yes.
tower and all that?
Yes. So currently we're not showing ground and tower in this demo, only the sectors, but that's for sure added soon.
And for you folks in the back, the question was, if you click a sector, will you see all the frequencies in there? And the answer is yes. I believe there was a question, gentleman in the colorful shirt.
Well, I'm trying to ride this one out to see what the next crew we're going to get to is. But I got to be honest, at this point, we've been live for about 3.5 hours now. So I might think about shutting it down here in a few minutes. Like I said, we've been through most of the military flight sim stuff that I think we're going to get. Let me pull up the schedule again. So next up, we have Fly Inside, Flying Art, Toby AB, SoFly, and X-Plane. I think that's going to round out the show today. So more of the civilian side of the house. But it has been interesting up to this point. For sure. Wing was a great surprise. Investing in force feedback. It's the year of force feedback. So they're going to come out with a base. FlightSim.com is coming out with a force feedback base.
Alongside with charts, is that correct?
And then not only is that Wing has a slew of civilian hardware they're going to release, which some of that could be applicable to DCS and IL2. So that it's just really, really good time. It's the golden age of flight sim hardware, that's for sure. We might be in a up and down place with the software itself, but we're certainly not hurting for hardware options.
There might be some adaptations maybe in the update rate, depending on the available resources. We're not fully there yet, but for sure we're having this taken into consideration. Yeah.
Good point, thank you.
This gentleman had a, did you have your hand up before?
Yes, the gentleman in the gray shirt. Yes, sir. So the gentleman is asking whether or not we would have the airport overlay so that you can see specifically what aircraft is at what gate. So yes, we will. The traffic will be working down to the very smallest level.
Taking a peek at the schedule tomorrow, mostly breakout sessions, so there's kind of some interesting panels. One of them that I'm super interested in, I don't know if it's going to be streaming, is going to be a panel called So You Want to Be a Virtual Combat Pilot. They're going to join some combat simulation veterans for a panel discussion on how to get started. You know, maybe not of interest to people who are already embedded in the community, been there for a while, but it's going to have some really cool members of the community. In particular, Shamrock from Stormbird's blog is going to be hosting that, or I should say will be one of the lead panelists. It'd be exciting to hear him, what he has to say. And it's just nice for them to even have this panel and continue to promote the combat flights inside of the house. So I'm really happy with the amount of exposure we've had already, and it's only the first day. So really cool to see.
Mainly for privacy reasons.
And sure, if we can't stream it, I'll be sure to talk about it on the podcast. If not this weekend, for sure next weekend.
Possible to search for someone's user handle. And yes, the intention is to increase the possibility of connecting with other pilots eventually.
We'd love to do question and answer here forever because it's very interesting. We do have to move on, but
yeah,
they will be at
thank you for intervening.
So if you have a question for them,
I was like,
idea for them,
great questions, but these are questions we can answer later on.
Sunday to go check out the team. There's a lot of them. Obviously, it's like a Swedish invasion. So, but anyway, fantastic stuff, Navigraph. It's always a pleasure to have you guys here.
Yeah.
All right, panel, what do we think about the Navigraph?
The Navigraph is the Navigraph, and there's really not much more you can say other than they are the Navigraph.
The Navigraph is the Navigraph.
If you guys don't use Navigraph
right.
for your flights, I mean, you are missing out on so much. I mean, one of the things I didn't actually hear them talk about was the fact they added VFR sectionals this year, too. And that was like, yes, we've been asking for that for 10 years, I can remember. So, yeah, epic for me.
Yeah, such like attention to detail, and I've had a Navigraph subscription for just 6 months now. I'm kind of late to the game, but still just diving into everything that's available. And they're obviously like just shout out to being responsive to the community, taking questions, you know, adapting and adding new features based on what people are asking for. So that's nice to see too.
Absolutely. You can't say enough about a company that wants to come in, make a great product, constantly improve the product, but also is really intentional about reaching out to all of you guys to really find out, hey, what do you guys want from the sim?
That's exactly what I was talking about. Engaging with the community, meeting them where they are, hearing what they have to say, and you know, you don't have to take the suggestion, but at least listen to it.
There's some things I can think of that would just make it that much better. So I think we're now ready with the next group here. We've got Fly Inside, and this is Rick Miller. So take it away, sir.
Why, thank you very much. How's everybody doing? You're having a good time? It's a good this is a good expo, let me tell you. I do have to say I don't like carrying stuff quite so far on these hallways, though. 300 pounds back and forth, it's not as much fun as it sounds, I assure you. I don't know if anybody knows who Fly Inside is. I'm going to do a stupid little PowerPoint, but then I'm going to get to the meat of the potato, which is we're releasing today 2 brand new helicopters. So that is the big deal for us.
Okay, well, so I wasn't going to stick around, but they said helicopters, so now we're going to have to wait and see what they have to say here.
One of them full motion,
They know how to appeal to an old Gila Bubba.
I did bring barf bags. I did. Because if you can't fly a helicopter well and you sit on the pedals, you are going to spin around really fast. So the only thing that'll set me off is that. If anybody knows me, I am a commercial professional pilot. I have been for many, many years. I've got 11,000 hours currently somewhere in that neighborhood. I kind of stopped counting. I own helicopters. I own a Jet Ranger currently. You can fly it in the sim. It's Rick's livery, which is, I know, not very creative, but that's what it is. And then one of the new ones we're releasing, I own one of those as well. So I fly an awful lot. Helicopters are not the easiest thing in the world to fly. Anyone who has tried to do it will attest to that.
Not too bad.
Side, and we just get to this. I got this cool.
You get it after a while.
It just spins around. It's really neat. I like it.
If I could learn to fly one, I assure you anybody could.
Ooh, Fly Inside, that's us. It's our new logo. Notice it has airplanes and helicopters on it. There is a reason for that, which may or may not be a surprise. So Fly Inside, we've been developing flight simulators for many, many years. Who here remembers FSX?
Are they? I wonder. Is this? I wonder if this is his own product, or is this going to interact with like Microsoft Flight Simulator? Or what? I wonder what this is.
First people to allow you to fly in VR in a flight sim, and in my world, that was a game changer. Just having depth perception, the ability to look out the window, to lean out in a helicopter sim, that was pretty cool. And me personally, I started simulating, I don't want to tell you what year because it'll make me seem even older than I am, but Sublogic's FS1 on an Apple II. Not a 2 Plus, I wish I had one of those, 16K language card. But the day after I started flight simming, I started ground school in Jamaica, Queens, New York. So, and it's a long road from there, but every single sim that came out, I bought, I set up, I played with, and you just got to kind of know the limitations that you have within the sim environment. And tomorrow I'm doing what I like to call a TED Talk on that. It's on your schedule. It's helicopter flight dynamics realism in the flight simulator environment. It's not easy to do. So here we go. Since our first product, we are pushing the boundaries.
Okay, that's at 1 o'clock Pacific time tomorrow.
So we're expanding.
And that's going to be one of the streaming ones. So yeah, if you didn't know, you can purchase a pass and actually see a lot of the presentations. I think it's like $15. And you can stream all these individual breakout sessions. So like this one Rick was talking about, you can watch that tomorrow if you pay.
Here's our revolutionary Bell 47. It was the first helicopter with real dynamics in MSFS. And we keep updating it. As you can see, we've updated it 18 times since it was released. There's an update, actually, it'll probably be released tomorrow for it, which adds a few features, and we can talk about that later on. The G3B variant will be coming out later this year. That's a turbocharged engine. So all you guys that want to do Mont Blanc, you can now do that without making it, 800-pound helicopter and taking all the parts off of it. So the next one we came out with, that's my paint job on my aircraft, so I had to get it in there.
That was what I learned to fly in way back in the day.
There were over 15,000 of these made in various variants, and they're still flying today. I can attest to that. So we've done 17 updates since we released it in December of 2022, and we've just released an update. Microsoft has it in their hand, but we all know about Marketplace. It may take
the military version that they're gonna make me nostalgic.
You can always buy it from our website.
I don't miss it that much though.
You will get the updates immediately as soon as we release them. So coming soon, I know a lot of you guys are DCS guys and military guys. We are doing the OH-58A and B models, which has a different engine, and also the 206A model, which my helicopter represents right up there. And you will have some stuff like, weapons. So that might be kind of interesting. So this year, we've expanded.
That is interesting, because I didn't think you were allowed to have weaponry in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Or maybe it's you can't destroy things? I don't know.
And we have agreements that I've signed with a bunch of major manufacturers. We now own the IP. So that means that we will be the sole source supplier for them. They're going to be using our aircraft for training. We have our own Fly Inside flight simulator. Anybody know that one? We released it as a consumer product, and now it's a commercial product. And Bell Helicopter is using it, as well as quite a few other companies. And we're going to soon be certified to be able to use MSFS for the scenery in a PCATD, an approved device. We're going to get to level 5 probably next year. So if you want, you can start logging the time if you have the correct hardware, which is a very cool thing.
Yeah, that is pretty sweet, actually.
Towards that end, we have to replace the MSFS flight dynamics model. If any of you guys know our products, we are only using Microsoft Flight Simulator for scenery because it's beautiful. Let's face it, no other sim looks quite so good right now. But it's limiting because Asobo decided that helicopters weren't really the most important thing to them, so they did it as best they could, and they did a really good job, but they're really focused on gamers rather than hardcore simmers. So if you want to have something that you can hop in and fly around like a hero, more power to you. That's fun, that's the way you want to fly. But if you want to learn how to fly an actual helicopter, it is not the easiest thing in the world. If it was, more than 1% of all certificated pilots would be helicopter pilots. So
Well, I had no idea when that number was that low. That's wild.
in our Heli Manager app, which is part of the WASM file, you can actually
It's also more expensive too, you know.
and up the stability.
It's one thing when the government's paying for you to do it.
Like a UFO if you want to, but the goal is to fly it in its native state. So, without further delay, our promised new helicopter releases for FlightSimExpo 2024. I have kept this very secret. I wouldn't even tell Evan what it was. And people have been pumping me for information. So we're going to do one turbine, and we're going to do one piston. And there is method to my madness. And without further ado, here they are. It's the Rotorway 162F and the Rotorway Jet Exec, which is not actually a Rotorway product, but the cards have been updated. So the reason we picked these specifically is because they're attainable. If you learn how to fly in a flight sim and you fly our Rotorway R162F, you can actually go out, find yourself one for about $40,000 or $50,000, and you can fly it. That means that you could actually translate your flight sim experience.
That's actually kind of wild that the price is that low. I mean, obviously that doesn't include op maintenance and fuel and all that stuff, but
I have a 162, which actually I don't. I have an Exec 90, which is the earlier one that I built a mechanical fuel injection system for, so I don't have to deal with computers. Crazy, right, for a computer company? FADEX blue screen of death when you're flying in the air. Well, death could be part of that equation. So these are not super fast. They're very, very, very maneuverable. The Jet Exec has a nice turbine in it. Everybody loves the smell of Jet A in the morning. So let's get into a little details here. One of the easiest ways to go from flight simulation to flying in the real world. Try it. Could be in your future. They're a lot of fun to fly. They're small enough to keep in your garage. If you have a reasonable sized garage. So, of course, it comes with half a dozen liveries right now, and we'll be releasing many, many, many more. We have a thing where if you guys want a custom livery, go on Discord, go on our channel, ask for it, send a bunch of pictures, and our guys will make it for you, put it in the next update, so anybody you fly with gets to see your livery. You don't have to go and download something separate. The other thing a lot of people don't know is Fly Inside products. If you go to our updates page and download it, any of them, and then you play multiplayer with somebody who owns one of our products, you can see them in the product. You can't fly it, but you can see it. So we offer that for free. So coming up, next one is the Jet Exec. Again, quite a few. This one's different because it is a full glass cockpit. That's an Odyssey Enigma, which of course discontinued because it was good and inexpensive, and nobody does good and inexpensive anymore. So it is what it is. You get jets and glass cockpits and inexpensive in the same language, in the same sentence. That's pretty odd. And we're moving on. So we're going to do a show-only bundle, $64.95 for both helicopters, updates for life for free, like every one of our products. This will be live by the show probably opening tomorrow. I couldn't put it up there because then everybody would know what I was selling, right? So this is going to be the show bundle. You can buy, you get 2 for 1. I will at some point be doing a bundle for all 4 of our aircraft, and with all the updates and all that kind of thing. So next, what's next for us? So in the coming months, we're going to add a bunch of feature updates, a new pro pilot training. We're adding failure modes. Right now, pretty much all the systems are modeled for failures. You can overspeed the rotors, you can blow up, you can do hot starts. Those are very expensive for Jet Ranger people. And VRS is modeled, RBS is modeled, all these acronyms that nobody cares about. But all of that stuff actually functions as it should. But what we're going to do is give you the ability to...
it's funny that they always mention things like vortex ring state and all that. Now, I know it gets talked a lot about DCS2, but, you know, I've got like 1,000 hours in Helos. I don't think I ever came close to vortex ring state, but I guess if you're trying it for training purposes, so it's good to have. I think Casmo talked about that once too.
Pick some fields, mark out a territory, and actually do the spraying with GPS, like it's done in the real world. Working weapons for military variants, no, you won't be able to destroy anything. Microsoft frowns upon that kind of thing because they're peaceful. Hey man, what is it, peace, love, dope? Or vegetable peace for all if you're a Young Ones fan? So they will spark and do stuff, but unfortunately they won't blow up. So
Okay,
there's a
well,
bunch
that
more
answers
of
that
those
question.
kinds of features coming. We've got 4 more helicopters. Composite Effects, who makes the Mosquito, we are doing all of their aircraft, and we have the IP to do it, and they will be using it for flight training on their own trainer. Some of you have seen them. They're very inexpensive, and they're doing experimental helicopters the right way. You go to them and build it with them, so you know it's going to be done properly. So it's the Mosquito XEL, which is a lightweight engine, the XE, a little more power, the XE290, I call Big Bertha, all piston, and the XET turbine, which also uses a Solar T62. Next, we are doing Enstroms. We have signed a deal with Enstrom to do all theirs training, and they wanted us to do all their legacy stuff, which we will. And I used to own an F-28A, which is a dog. It looks like a toad, but it's a really fun helicopter to fly, 3-bladed, fully articulated rotor system, elastomeric bearings. That's going to be done. Also, the military training variants will be also done. Next, very slow. This is the secret, guys. This is what you came to see. We are doing the Gazelle.
The ultimate sports car helicopter. I love it. Well, yeah, if you fly in DCS, that is exactly what it is.
Gazelle. I love flying it. It is a pilot.
I don't think there's a helicopter this guy hasn't owned.
Oh, by the way, we're not going to do engine overhauls anymore. You can go piss up a rope. So, a company in Hungary bought the entire manufacturing line, and the FAA said, "Oh, you can't buy anything from them. It's not certified." So, if anyone knows Callaway Cars, they made the twin-turbo Corvette. Anybody remember this from the 80s? Reeves, who unfortunately just passed away recently, he was my partner in this helicopter, and we flew the hell out of this thing. And we're going to do both variants, all 4 really. The D, the G, which has the smaller Astazoo 3A, and the 14, which is the bigger horsepower one. Soon to be, that's 2025. You'll start seeing pictures of it now that it's out of the bag. But we've already got it flying in our simulator, fly-inside flight simulator. So we're just cleaning up the art and putting all the new instruments in it. Fast, maneuverable, and sexy. What else? We got fully functional SCAS and stability augmentation. You've been asking for it. We got it. It's coming out probably in the next month or so. And then after that, a fully functioning autopilot. Right? Yes, for helicopters.
And granted, I don't keep up with Microsoft Flight Simulator, but this is a ton of content for a development studio that I didn't even know existed. So I guess it'd be like if I stumbled into DCS and Heatblur talked about all the stuff they were going to do with their various aircraft, and I'd be like, who the hell are these guys?
Collins 841H, and we will have that functioning with nav and GPS coupling. Then there's going to be an internal cockpit tablet pad for additional features, like the ag spraying and that kind of thing. No more external heli manager management console. Everything's going to be inside. We only had to do that for DRM purposes. It wasn't in the marketplace version. You click on a switch in the cockpit, you get a little pop-up. That'll be done probably with the next update release. Thank you. Come and visit us at our booth. We're at 3:30. We've got the sims. We'd love to talk to you guys, hear what you want or don't want, or what you like and don't like. I just want to have a few minutes left, 5:47 according to the shot clock. I'm happy to take questions about anything that we do at this point. Yell them out.
Actually, we're a little behind our time, actually, so we need to move on. If you're actually done, I'm sorry.
You're not going to let anyone ask me questions?
They'll come to your booth, so it's even better. I'm sorry.
It says I got 3 minutes and 26 seconds.
I know, and you did us a favor by ending early. That's what happened.
Oh, I see. See that?
But that is awesome. I know a number of people in here that are really into the helicopter flying stuff, and I've tried my hand at helicopters, and I am not a good helicopter pilot. So it's an entirely different kind of flying altogether.
Well, I think that's the high point when they acknowledge helicopters, praise them, praise the Hilo Bubbles of the world. They're definitely on par. Show the respect that we deserve. No, I'm just kidding. But I hope it was fun for everyone. If you're still made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around. There's a lot of great content at this FlightSimExpo. Hopefully next year I'll be actually doing it live. I'm hoping to show up in person. But until then, I'll keep on covering it this weekend. Cut the live stream short tonight. You can still find this show if you go to FlightSimExpo.com or FlightSimAssociation.com. You can find the live stream over there if you're interested in finishing it up. But that'll wrap it up for my portion tonight. So anyway, the podcast will be coming later this weekend, as it always does. Stay tuned. We'll talk about what we saw, as well as all the other news in the world of military flight simulation and hardware for the week. So take care.